Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Untitled Wrestling Podcast. It is me, your boy Big Tasty, joined as always by Jay
Hello.
and Faye.
Hi.
And it is a very special episode this time around. We are, of course, discussing our end of year awards, I think is the right way to describe it. We've got a number of categories, which we are going to have a friendly debate about, I think is the best way to describe it, and choose some of the best and maybe a little bit of the worst of the wrestling over the last 12 months. As we record this, just FYI for anyone who's wondering, it is the 2nd of January, not December, 2nd of January, and it is fucking freezing.
It's
Happy
very
New
cold.
Year.
Happy New Year. It is so cold. I am literally leaning against a turned on radiator, not in that way.
Radiator.
And I am also, for anyone who's watching this on video, I'm eating the last of my Terry's chocolate oranges, so I'm literally consuming the end of Christmas. I had a final festive bake today before they got rid of them, and yeah,
Why you didn't just buy all the ones that were left?
it's time to stick Christmas back in Michael Bublé's hibernation cave for another couple of months.
I've still got a king's ransom of cheese that I'm going to consume during Wrestle Kingdom weekend.
I
That's right.
have
Jesus
so
for
much cheese.
Jesus for all year round. That's not a problem.
Yeah, but it's Christmassy cheeses.
Any cheese is it's regular cheese if you try hard enough.
That's true. That's true.
You put it on toast,
I mean,
it's fine.
Either way, my dream is to eat a lot of cheese at the weekend, and no one's going to stop me.
I saw a thing on the internet. Someone did a cheese board on toast, so they just did cheese on toast with all of the dregs of the cheeses from the cheese board.
I have done that before, and it was fucking delightful.
That sounds delightful. It really
The
does.
only thing I didn't do this year, and I'm upset with myself, is I didn't eat a big camembert.
I
haven't done that.
I got you guys covered. I had 3 of them.
Oh, nice.
Oh, okay.
Long as you're crushing the numbers, then that's okay.
I did one where I put hot honey in the middle of it, like halfway through, so it melted into it. It was really good. Would recommend.
Oh.
Spoiler: it knocks the radiator that's turned on now.
I'm eating my way through a wheel of brie at the minute, which is delightful.
I love cheese that comes in like wheels. Like what
Yeah.
size do you want? Like a block? No, a wheel. I want cheese. I want cheese. What rolls?
Yes. Smoked cheese, brie, camembert, all of the circular cheeses.
Baby bells.
Not all of the circular cheeses. Most of the circular cheeses. Right, shall we get cracking with the categories then?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we've got a number of categories. For anyone who's not listened to last year's, I think might be the first time we did this. We do it now in what I'm calling the Giant Bomb format, which we've ripped off shamelessly from the Giant Bomb podcast. So basically, we will read through a list of nominees for each category. We will then select 3 to be put forward as a top 3. And we might delete some or add some as we go, but we'll end up with 3. And then out of those 3, we will pick one winner. There will be no second and third place. There is just a top 3, a shortlist of 3 and one winner. And we're going to do that for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, oh shit, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 11 categories. And then we're going to, because we're stupid and we don't like sleep, we're going to attempt to do a top 10 matches of the year at the end as a bonus. So our match of the year, which is the final award, will be a top 10. We've got about 23 matches on the shortlist, and that's going to result in shouting. So,
I just want to say, guys, I'll still love you at the end of this podcast. I promise.
Yeah. So
okay.
if anyone's never listened to the Giant Bomb End of the Year Awards podcast, so I think the greatest moment in podcasting history, a guy called Dan Reichert, who's a big podcaster, big wrestling fan. He worked on the New Days podcast for a long time when he went to WWE.
Guest commentator on Mystery Wrestling as well.
Yes, he did like a fucking psyop to get Red Dead Redemption 2 voted as most disappointing game, and it worked. And if you ever find the clip online, listen to it. It's like a 20-minute filibuster.
I need to find that now.
Of him
And
just
send
going
it to Nat.
of him just going around the houses while Brad Shoemaker loses his fucking mind as he watches the world crumble around him. It's legitimately incredible, and it remains my favorite piece of podcasting of all time.
And I want to hear it more because Red Dead Redemption 2 is one of the best games ever made, and I want to see whether like it's just Dan being a menace or if he's genuinely like sincere about it, or both.
It was incredible. Right, should we move on straight into our first category? It's a nice simple one. We've only got a very short list. I feel like it's not been a banner year for this,
It's been a fucking terrible year for it.
I think this is the show. So it's tag team of the year. Not been a great year for tag teams across the board. So our shortlist is Violence is Forever, Fresh Air, the Young Bucks, Private Party, or MXM. And I can't think of a team that deserves to win this.
Oh, I can.
Um,
Out of all them, I can anyway.
I am gonna say this is controversial, but I am gonna say it's MXM this year.
Oh,
So first of all, can someone tell me who Fresh Air are?
yes, I
I
can.
don't know. Go
Absolutely.
on.
Fresh Air are from Mystery Wrestling predominantly. They were trained by Evil Uno. They are a genuinely very good tag team. They're currently the IWTV Tag Team Champions and doing the rounds around America now. Just very exciting to watch. They both come out dressed as breakdancers and like to clap them cheeks a lot. But yeah, the McCray Martin and Junior Benito. McCray Martin, for a guy his size, should not be allowed to do half the shit he does because he's really agile and athletic.
Thank you, whoever's just added that onto the document.
Just making a late edition of Quintessential because
Yeah.
they are absolute boys, and I can't think of a reason why they shouldn't be on here.
Exactly.
That's
Agreed.
fair, and they've also,
Oh, can I also add one then? As well.
this is look what you've done, Tasty. You've opened the fucking floodgate.
Oh, FTM, is that what's his face? Critchy?
Jack Critchlow and Tom
Yeah.
McCall.
You've spelled FTR wrong there.
So FTR aren't even on this list because I don't think
They
they've
don't
done-
deserve to be on there.
I don't think they've done fuck all this year.
FTR have had a fucking terrible year because they've been coattail riding fucking
Adam Copeland.
no, the Outrunners.
Oh,
Oh,
the
yeah.
Outrunners. See, the
How are
Outrunners.
the Outrunners not on
the
here?
Outrunners need to be on here. No,
Outrunners-
this is not their category. There's another category coming up, which is the Outrunners category.
Outrunners shouldn't be on there because I don't think Outrunners have done enough other than like stand out.
If the
Okay.
Bucks had dropped the belt, shouldn't they want to do though? Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah. Fresh Air, very exciting indie tag team. Really good. One of my favorite things about Mystery Wrestling is finding them because they're just a really good team to watch. They also had a match with MXM Collection, which was kind of a crossover comedy match and a tag match.
Can I make a bold statement?
Yes,
I think we cut Private Party.
I
Yeah.
agree.
I really enjoyed them winning the
Right.
titles, but I don't think they've had the chance to do nearly enough.
Private Party have had a good like 2 months out of 12. They
I think they're handily placed if AEW books their tag team days up to have a really good this year.
So what I'd do for Private Party this year would basically just be what they do when they're trying to just get someone or like a belt over and just do like an open challenge. Have them like not just even open challenge with people from the AEW roster. Have like teams from Ring of Honor, have teams like a local indie team that is going to pop the hometown crowd, and then it gives a spotlight to that team as well to then like give them 10 minutes on TV, let them have like a fun back and forth match for the tag titles.
Then people bitch and say that they're giving too much time to jobbers. So
No, but then it can be used as a way to like again to sort of set a standard for what these things are.
but Jay, the internet gets angry and we can't be having that, can we?
But all right, well they can say I don't know. You can say
I'm well into it, mate. It's fine.
Yeah, I know.
It's a good idea.
There's ways to make it work if it upsets people for that.
If that upsets you, you need to go and touch grass and/or boobies.
Yeah, because like the example
Probably for the first time.
the example I would have made would have been do Private Party versus Fresh Air in Quebec, and then give them 10 minutes to just show why they probably deserve to be signed by someone because they're very good.
The Young Bucks thinking that back on it, right? The Young Bucks have done work this year though. Even though
I think the Young Bucks stay on for now. I think that's a conversation. We can kick this can down the road for a few more minutes.
Young Bucks for me have been a pay-per-view tag team.
yeah.
Wasn't the whole point? Wasn't the whole point was they wanted to have like boring matches on TV to get over their like heel characters?
Yeah. But then the counterpoint I saw to that made was they've said they've kind of toned down on the flashy moves to be boring when they haven't really. So maybe it's just they've changed what they're wearing and that's all.
Right, let's make an easy cut. Can we take out Violence is Forever?
No,
Yeah. Why?
because they're very good and they're the GCW tag champions and
I don't even know who they are.
it's Kevin Koo and Dominic Guarini.
I don't know who. I'm vaguely aware of Kevin Koo. The other guy might as well be the guy who delivered my pizza.
He's a big murder hoss. Just yeah. They've defended those belts so much this year. They've had some fucking bangers defending them. In a year where I think GCW have had a pretty mediocre to bad year, they've been one of the sort of shining lights in that company where they've been having bangers with like whoever will come face them. Even against people who like you wouldn't expect them to have like a really good match with, like Cardona and Jimmy Lloyd. They had a good match with them, and also they just adapted the styles like based on their opponents. So there was a match that I watched with Ryan earlier in the year. So both guys are very like MMA driven, very strike heavy. They had a match against John Wayne Murdoch and the other guy in the Rejects, and John Wayne Murdoch basically turned it into a death match, and they just went with it.
Fair.
They just went through all the glass.
So hear me out. We've got six on the list at the moment. We've got 2 US Indies, 2 like AEW affiliated, and 2 UK Brit Res. I suggest we pick one of each pair and put them up.
I'm okay with that.
So I'll start with you, Faye, first. It's Sophie's choice, quintessential or FTM?
Quintessential.
Sorry, Critchy. See you in Wade Smith.
Wow! Does Critchy even know what Wade Smith is?
He's off to the Wade Smith in the sky. He probably doesn't even know, does he? Fucking hell.
No.
He's probably too young for fucking cricket, isn't he? Cricket? Is cricket the one? That was Stephen Jarrett's missus who on the show into all the time, wasn't it? All right, Jay, I'll throw to you. Violence is Forever or Fresh Air?
Based on the levels of matches they've had with different opponents, I'd say Violence is Forever.
Supply both to Fresh Air. Although they're very much we'll track back on this next year and see where they're at.
Yeah.
Can I be bold and say MXM over the Young Bucks?
Absolutely. I was going to back that up.
But for the, if nothing else, just for the extra. I mean, this is coloured partially by the fact that I listened to them on the AEW Arcade Game of the Year awards like last week, and they were fucking brilliant.
And also they're now hosting that.
Yeah, they took over it, which was incredible.
Yeah.
And then we need to pick a winner.
Quintessential.
I would say Violence is Forever based on what they've actually like achieved as far as titles and stuff like that.
See, I would say MXM, and for one reason. Well, one main reason is they came into AEW. They did that Grizzly Young Veterans thing where they kind of bounced a bit and got put down to Ring of Honor, but then they got themselves back onto the AEW again, which not a lot of teams escaped the Ring of Honor vortex.
And also, they are endlessly entertaining whenever they are on TV. Whatever they do is entertaining.
I'll
touch my tip over to MXM.
Are we okay with MXM? Do we like that? I think that's probably the right answer. That's bold, those bad boys. Congratulations to Violence is Forever and Quintessential. Quintessential forever in our hearts. I'd watch them. I have watched them fight literally anywhere, and I will watch them fight literally anywhere.
Yeah.
Right, next category is just the worst. It's quite an abstract category. It's just something bad in wrestling. Our nominees are just Chris Jericho, Eddie Kingston's injury, Effie's big mouth, Conan's contract tampering, Logan Paul's continued existence, that softball Vince documentary, and CM Punk. I'd like to throw in one more thing, which I will add now. I'll let Faye read this out because it will make her do a big sad.
Oh. Yeah, I don't want to talk about that. Kenny Omega not wrestling all year. Oh.
Yeah, Kenny Omega not wrestling all year. So, they are our categories. I think we can probably cut Effie and Conan because that's just like people being a bit stupid, isn't it?
Yeah, Effie was just mouthing off on his podcast like he does anyway. He doesn't hold back. That's fine. I respect Effie a lot. He's a very. I
think we can cut the Vince thing because it was a documentary and not a person.
Effie's mouthed off on this podcast.
Yes, and also what Effie said there, he hasn't said to me and you.
What horrible hypocrites would we be if we dumped on Effie for slandering people when we literally made him tell us about kissing John Moxley?
Yeah, basically, and if you want to know what he tastes like, also he said he tasted like an ashtray in Violence.
Yes, as did Suzuki, apparently.
As did Suzuki. But basically, what happened with Effie was just he said some stuff he probably shouldn't have said, given the timing of everything. Kind of led to some cool stuff happening with AEW and GCW. So led to some
Ricky
negative.
Starks just got fucking dumpstered on.
Well, yeah, I was like the negative side of that is Ricky Starks got pulled from a lot of bookings, which is shit because Ricky Starks isn't me. Oh fuck! Add Ricky Starks not being used. Add that shit to the worst. I didn't even think of that. There you are as well. Good. And Conan's contract tampering was basically just the whole Penta and Phoenix thing. Wasn't necessarily Conan, just Conan kind of outed that they'd had talks outside of, well, with WWE while they were still under contract.
See, yeah,
That
in
and also Pentagon.
right, this is a sentence I'm never going to say again. In fairness to Conan,
Oh god.
if
No,
Penta
God.
and, if the Lucha Brothers hadn't talked to WWE, there would have been nothing for him to out.
And also,
Yeah.
Penta was very vocal about it backstage, apparently. Which is like, mate, you've seen what's fucking happened.
Rumors that he was running around doing the "You can't see me" John Cena hand signals that were unfounded.
It is mad that we're possibly going to get Penta versus John Cena at some point this year.
That
Yeah,
seems
he's
like
doing a
some-
full run, isn't he?
That seems like something that would only ever happen in like Fortnite.
Yeah. The whole match
You might get Penta in Fortnite now.
No, fuck
and
no.
that. It is just going to be them doing hand signals for about a minute and then.
As reluctant as I am, because it means a great deal to me, I'm going to cut Eddie Kingston's injury. I just wanted to talk about Eddie Kingston. He's not actually been out the whole year, and he's back soonish. So it's not actually been that bad, although it's caused me great personal sadness.
I
He has
mean,
been talking about anime loads on Threads, though, which is the
That's-
only reason anyone should get Threads.
Yeah.
that's bizarre to me.
So we love you, Eddie. Get well soon. We miss you. I'm gutted you couldn't be at All In, so I could see you at Wembley again. But hey,
There's always next year. This year.
at least he's going to come back and murderize Gabe Kidd.
That's true.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah, just do Eddie vs. Gabe Kidd on Forbidden Door.
And Eddie breaks Gabe Kidd's leg this time.
Yeah.
The Vince doc, yeah, I think that can go because, as you say, it's not a person; it's a documentary. It was kind of fine, and even though it didn't dig deep enough to satisfy my craving for Vince's soul to be flayed, it did draw his attention. A lot of like lesser interest, like softer wrestling fans' attentions to the bad shit he's done. So it did
People were
serve a
talking
purpose.
about it in my work.
I think the thing with the Vince stock as well was what you got to remember is that originally it was going to be a fluff piece that Vince had kind of signed off on.
Hmm.
And then all the stuff come out, so they basically tried to shoehorn all of the bad shit that come out into like one final episode, while then kind of making everyone aware of what a monster he is across the other episodes, while still
It had a weirder narrative flow than Tiger King, and that fucking twisted. It would have been the only thing that would have like made it better is if he'd have like jinxed himself, like done a jinx on himself, and like given himself away in a hot mic situation.
Yeah.
Like, I shot in the head. What of it?
just coughing and barfing at the same time.
If he'd done that, I probably would have kept it on. But yeah, Vince.
yeah.
If you haven't seen it, maybe go watch it, but don't expect. If you want Vince dirt, listen to Behind the Bastards 6-part series on it. It's much better.
It's probably only a part 1, even though he did 6 parts on it, because he only got up to like Owen's death, didn't he? In that.
Yeah, and then he sort of mentioned the new lawsuit. Like,
and he was like, we'll probably have to revisit this at some point.
Yeah. But there's some wild shit in there. Like that time when he pretended he could like wrestle a load of soldiers or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a thing that happened. Faye, CM Punk, extrapolate.
I'm just so tired of like, when you just want someone to let things go and then something happens and then he'll just mention it and it's like, my guy, you don't fucking work here. You don't go here anymore. Like, just don't. Like, the most recent thing for me is the fucking Hangman thing. Like the move set thing, and he's like, I don't like that. So I'm getting angry.
I do love the fact that Kevin Owens did then immediately take the piss out of Punk by going, I've got the best move set in all of wrestling.
Yeah, he's got the best move set, sure,
whatever.
I don't care.
Literally in the segment after, just because Kevin Owens hates Punk as well. Yeah, I think the thing is CM Punk's got very big like, oh yeah, I'm over it, but I'm still going to talk about it at every given chance I've got energy.
That's what I'm like, and it's been on like every podcast ever as well. Like
Yeah, and
it comes back to this, and it's like it's been a year now.
yeah, it's like um I was saying to you guys before, it's sad because CM Punk was legitimately one of my favorite wrestlers, and it's just maybe from this whole having the curtain peeled back on the kind of person he actually is. I think, oh yeah, I'm really not a fan of this man. He's not a
I
he
think this
he's
man's
he's
gonna
a
hold out to do Saudi.
he's a fucking piece of garbage. Is
I just think it's really hilarious that he's posting on Twitter now on his Insta stories about like WWE doing like back-to-back $1 million gates when that was the type of thing that he used to say wasn't important in wrestling, and now that it's probably contributed to how much he gets paid, he might be more of a fan of it.
yeah.
Hmm.
It's almost like you say, James. It's almost like he's the brewdog of Punk. But hey,
Yeah,
Yeah, he's pretty much.
but I think we can cut him. If you don't like him, just don't watch WWE, and you know have to
I'm,
that's what I'm saying. Like I'm
I,
trying really hard to.
I don't watch WWE, so it's not an issue. Unfortunately, I do watch AEW, and I got a lot of Chris Jericho. Um,
Yeah, I think Jericho might have to hang in here.
yeah, he does because the thing is, like Chris Jericho with his whole shtick, like makes me laugh like one or two times the entire year.
Yeah,
But then it's one of those things like the King of New York, the first King of New York thing he did the other week. I was howling laughing because he was like, I'm the king of the New York, and then like quoting other cities as it was a New York thing. And it was like, that's fucking brilliant. That's actually really clever. And it's a little bit of a diversion away from the like whole learning tree thing.
Hmm. See, the
But
sad
then,
thing about Jericho is though, so you make you laugh with, and he is. I think he is genuinely a funny guy, and I think
yeah,
he can work a crowd, and he knows how to get things over. The problem is, it's 2025 now, and then the bell rings, and he wrestles like the Kiss Demon did meth.
yeah.
yeah. This is the thing I was about to say. He makes me laugh once or twice a year, and he also probably has that many good matches as well. And it all depends on the opponent he's got. Like, he had a
Fucking Jericho. Like he wasn't even the thing over in that match. It was Bill.
yeah. I was
Hey, we'll
gonna
talk about Bill later. Don't you worry about
I was gonna say Mark Briscoe. He had some really good like they worked well
Yeah,
together because the problem with Jericho is he can't do half the shit he could do like even like 5 years ago.
that. Mm.
yeah.
Like at the start of AEW, he was a better wrestler then, but he still thinks he can, and it's like that when he sort of deviates and goes to a bit more of a brawler and he does like a bit more like no DQ stuff, he will have a very entertaining match. But then you see like he wants to try and keep up with guys like Osprey or guys like fucking Ricochet or whoever, and it's like you're too old to do that. You can't like
Like the orange stuff as well.
I will
Like
offer one positive of Chris Jericho, well, a positive of Chris Jericho in AW. Without Chris Jericho, there's no way AW gets them Guns N' Roses songs.
absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
yeah.
Um,
I would say the thing that annoys me as well is that Brian Keith is just so fucking cool anyway.
But in fairness,
Like I love
Brian Keith's a huge Jericho fan, and this is like his dream come true.
but also, I think Brian Keith would have, without the learning tree, probably would have just kind of gone into being like what most guys Tony just signs on a whim have happened to them, where he has like TV time for about like 6 weeks and then he fucks off into the ether. We never see
yeah.
it.
The
I think
gravity,
I just
the
really
gravity
like the
program.
Bounty Hunter.
Yeah, but I still I'm okay with like Brian Keith being in that position because he seems to like get a lot more opportunities than I think he would have without it.
Yeah, I'm
Fair.
with you. But I think Jericho sticks around. I think if we kick anything off here, it's
Punk.
Punk's gone. Punk's gone. Don't worry
Punk's
about that.
gone. Excellent.
Just like from AW, he's gone from this list. Um, I don't know. It's either Kenny or Ricky. I think one of them has to go.
I think Kenny goes.
I think Kenny goes because the thing with Kenny is like obviously we know he's been unwell, we know he's had health issues. When he has shown up, he's still like been able to do like some cool stuff. And
And
I
he's
think
felt like a ghost throughout the entire narrative of this year.
yeah, I think when Kenny did show up, it was like, oh my god, oh fuck. and he's been able to do just enough like little bits and bobs here and there to get us all excited that obviously he is back now. He did return before the end of the year.
Yeah.
Like me and Tasty with the full gear review. At the end of every match, we were like, but what about when Kenny comes back? Like,
But this is the thing, like and he's clearly like set his sights on an absolutely mammoth match for 2025 by teasing a card at All In. So
Yeah.
I think with Kenny at least there's like a bit of a silver lining to it.
Shout out as well. Did you see when Kenny came back at World's End? Will Ospreay was like being held up in like the backstage area so you could watch
yeah, yeah.
Refusing to go to the back because he wanted to see Kenny come out.
it. So that was awesome. Okay, so that's our top three then of just Chris Jericho, Logan Paul. We haven't talked about Logan Paul yet, which we'll get to now. And
We're not.
Rocky
Logan
Ryan's
Paul. Yeah, Logan Paul's a piece of garbage. Fuck him.
Oh,
See, I think Logan Paul wins this because unlike CM Punk, I can't escape him by just not watching WWE because he's fucking everywhere.
yeah.
He transcends.
agree.
He's not just the worst in wrestling. I think he's like one of the worst in like human existence.
People.
Oh,
Yeah.
100%. He's one of the worst people that exist. He's a grifter. He fucking scams people all the time. And his idiot audience are stupid enough to fall for it every fucking time.
Yeah.
And
So remember when I said, like, right, and I mean this sincerely, like, this is your Uncle Tasty talking now. WWE is a product written for morons. I'm not saying if you watch it or you like it, you are a moron, but it is targeted towards morons. Logan Paul broadcasts to an audience. His whole like shtick is designed to dupe morons. So they are like the perfect business partners in a way because they're designed to like milk money out of stupid people.
I mean, look at how much Prime that Aaron has bought.
So do you know the other day, right? I was in, I think it was B&M, and they had Prime for 29 pence.
That's outstanding.
That made me very happy. I still didn't buy it because I don't want to give that my money.
No.
I'll donate my money to a pig sanctuary or something instead.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he wins that because he genuinely is the worst.
He's just a dreadful human being. He's a transphobe. He's a bigot. He's a fucking animal.
Like Jericho gives money to like
scammer.
Gives big donations to wrestlers when they're sick and stuff.
Yeah.
Didn't Logan Paul have like Donald Trump on his podcast or some shit? Though?
Oh yeah, he sure did. He's a big Trump supporter. He had him on his podcast. He's a fucking, as I say, he's just an awful.
He's selling moldy cheese to kids now. That's his new thing.
Oh, him and Mr. Beast, and they're getting investigated.
Well, I mean, Mr. Beast. What fucking makes you think in the year of our Lord 2024? Oh yeah, Mr. Beast. His stock's on the up and up. Let's get in with him.
Well, yeah, exactly. Speaking of bad people.
Yeah, it's almost like all the fucking super rich grifter YouTubers are like fucking scum. Who fucking thought?
I know.
Anyway, Logan Paul, you're the worst. Fuck off.
Yeah.
Go and do a fucking house show in Japan. Oh wait, you can't.
That was the best thing I've ever seen was Dominic Mysterio just like making him actually cry on his fucking podcast by saying, "Oh, didn't you come on the tour?" And then saying, "Oh, you'd have so much heat if you came out with the green hat on. Everyone would boo you out the building."
Incredible. See, there we go, Logan Paul. You are literally the fucking worst.
Yes.
Right. Next up, Fact of the Year. I think this is a slam dunk, maybe.
I think so.
So we've got the Hurt Syndicate, the Elite, the Death Riders, Judgment Day, the Patriarchy. I'm taking Death Riders off. I'm sorry. World's End was a bridge too far.
Fuck Death Riders.
Aw.
Only
fuck
because
Mark, fuck Claudio,
there's
fuck
literally
Matt,
somebody
Marina,
there's another group in AW doing kind of what they're doing, but much better.
Yeah. They are the Patriarchy.
No, they are the Hurt Syndicate, mate. They are like every time MVP talks, I just want to hear what he's saying.
MVP is captivating. I've always known he's a good talker because he's been around for long enough, but he's absolutely like in this role where he's just got license to just do what he wants, and he's got pretty much free reign over what their creative is by the sound of things.
And then you've got behind him, you've got Shelton Benjamin, who looks like as big as I remember Bobby Lashley being, and then you've got Bobby Lashley, who looks like actual Godzilla. So and it's like, oh shit. And then Shelton Benjamin will just throw you upside down so you land on your head. And then Bobby Lashley will just smush you into paste. I mean, it's like, yeah, okay.
And then they've got that entrance as well, which is just like so fucking sinister.
They're in that weird position that Swerve was in about a year ago where he was trying his best to be like an utter bastard and the crowd just loved him.
Yeah, because like everyone chants the fucking song at them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're great. I think it's weird because Bobby Lashley in when was it? It would have been what, like the start of 2023 when he was back in WWE. He looked like he was going to have like a banner year for himself, and then
Yeah.
he just stopped using them
I've
because
not seen last night's Dynamite, but didn't he murder his sister?
he did. MVP also on commentary said the fucking line of the night where he's like, "Oh yeah, yeah, Shelton and Bobby if they wanted them in, and they said we don't want them." I was like, "Oh yes, yes."
The best thing about the Hurt Syndicate I can say is they're probably going to kill Max Caster, which makes them just the
I
best.
mean, Max Caster almost died last night, so it's fine.
Yeah, I mean they basically did.
Yeah, it was great.
Right, moving on. Are the Judgment Day good?
No,
They haven't been for a long time.
yeah,
Off they go then. So that means by virtue, I mean in the most in the most appropriate way possible, by virtue of just being in the right place at the right time, the Elite are making the final three.
I think the Elite should win it.
I fucking massively disagree with you there.
I think, I think for the majority of the year, though, for what they've done with Danielson and the All In thing, I think
I mean,
had this half of the year.
They were in Blood and Guts, and they did hang Darby Allin upside down from the ceiling, which was fucking hilarious.
But they also were getting to the same level of energy that I had towards the Death Riders at the moment, where it was just like, what are we fucking doing here? This is kind of shit.
I enjoyed it majorly, but I'm also the worst person to ask about it because they're my favourites.
The only thing I think was a benefit of it was it elevated Jack Perry. It gave Okada a chance to actually come in as a heel, because I don't think there was many other ways they could have brought Okada in as a heel.
Yeah, and he's made an entire character out of just saying bitch, which is fantastic.
Okada is excellent still. He's fantastic as a heel. He's just a scumbag. I love him. That being said, when we're talking about factions of the year, how can you not want a father figure leading a faction?
And I'm big on the patriarchy, and I think putting Kip Sabian in has been a really good choice as well. I think that's really re-energized them.
Yeah, and also it's got Kip on TV, which is something I've been screaming for the last 12 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's elevating Nick Wayne. We've got Mother Wayne there too, doing her job perfectly. Hopefully,
they've missed Killswitch. She's been out for a little while. I mean, man nearly died. That's fair enough.
Yeah.
But I think that's the only thing that's hurt them is that they've not got that big. Like, whereas the Herd Syndicate's got Big Bobby. I think the Patriarchy are missing. I would give the edge to the Herd Syndicate just because they feel more complete.
See, I don't think the Herd Syndicate feel complete because I think they're still building. I think they're gonna be adding.
But I think that's an intriguing storyline.
Absolutely.
Is it going to be because they've turned down Ricochet? They've seemingly turned down the Acclaimed.
Well, this is what's interesting is that everyone who they've seemingly give cards to, they've actually gone, you take it too long.
Oh, can I just put it to you, Jay, about the Elite, that there was that really funny little moment when Okada wanted to get with Mercedes Moné, and it was hilarious.
Yeah,
everything Okada did with Mercedes Moné was fantastic.
I also like the fact that it kind of added that layer to Hangman and Swerve as well in the Blood and Guts thing.
Oh, you could talk me around there, Faye. You could talk me into the Elite there.
No, but you know, like when they were it was like Hangman got fired, and then it was like you're only back, and you have to fucking get in here and win this match, and then it just fell apart.
Like that was really good storytelling. Like that was great. Like everything around Blood and Guts was fantastic. Like because it was like Swerve trying to be like the person that he felt everyone wanted him to be, like this company guy, and Hangman was just like some sort of heat-seeking missile who was only there to hurt him.
There was that spot as well where they were shooting Swerve with the staple guns, and Hangman was in the corner getting PTSD, knowing that it was all for naught. And then Swerve just started no-selling them, stabbed himself, and started getting them. And then Hangman tried to buckshot him, and Swerve catches him, stabs him in the face.
Is it the Elite?
I still don't think it's the Elite, even though I think this is the best version of the Elite. Because
I think it's the elite purely because I'm tired of the contract thing. I just want it to happen now.
Yeah, but I think it's going too soon because there's a world where obviously the Death Riders keep stopping Christian from being able to use it. So there's a world where Christian then is like, all right, well, the enemy of my enemy is my friends, so I'm gonna like align with Cope to like get.
I was going to say, I think the addition of Cope to the main event scene, to the title scene, is fascinating from the perspective of what it does to Christian.
But I still think it's the elite just purely for everything that they've haunted the entire narrative.
I mean, to be honest, my pick was the Hurt Syndicate. I was just leaning into the patriarchy more because I want to give them their flowers because I do think they've been.
But Jay, you love Scapegoat.
Yeah, you do.
I do love Scapegoat, and he's going to join the Death Riders soon and ruin it for us.
He's got the bus. He's got the little bus, and it's fun.
Yeah, but they hurt people.
Oh, I could go either way. Am I the casting vote on this? Is it Hurt Syndicate and Elite, and it's whichever way I go?
Yeah.
It's the Elite. It's the Elite.
You're a scumbag. You made the point for that.
Yay!
But you taught me around, and then you reminded me that they've. So the only thing I'll say is the Hurt Syndicate haven't really done that much in the ring yet, whereas the Elite. I mean, it's not really that fair because they've not been there as long. But the Elite have had they've been in 2 big multi-man storyline matches, and they were both really, really good.
That's true. That's true.
Right.
The show Syndicate is in its infancy.
Yeah, and I think they're gonna have a big year this year. They really are. I think they'll be great, and I fucking love them. I mean, if it was like who has to come out and cut a 10-minute promo out of those 3 groups, I'd pick the Hurt Syndicate.
Yeah,
I don't know, over the patriarchy.
Yeah, MVP is gold.
I love Christian on the mic, but MVP is just captivating.
I don't know, how's MVP's dad? Like,
don't worry about it.
Right, show of the year. We've got Mystery Wrestling, brackets all of them. I'll allow that. WrestleMania Night 2, AEW All In, or AEW Revolution.
All In.
Now we need to talk about this.
All In, no.
Is anybody here standing WrestleMania Night 2?
Nope.
I'll cut the WWE show as soon
as
I look at it. All right. Sorry.
Didn't think it was good.
I mean, I didn't watch it, so I can't comment.
Yeah, same.
Okay, so
that's the last show I watched of theirs.
I don't think we can, in good conscience, give singular show of the year to all of the shows from one company. So, although I want Mystery Wrestling to get its flowers, and I think it definitely deserves to hang on here, I don't think it can win.
That's absolutely fair.
Although I did, if not necessarily my favorite match of the year, but my favorite stipulation of the year that they did was Falls Count Summer. I want that to be known. That was fucking incredible.
And you say that there was also the extremely ruled Iron Man match where everything led to a disqualification,
and actual death match.
If you've not seen it, if you've not seen Mystery Wrestling, it's Evil Uno's sort of indie promotion that he runs in Canada. It's literally just Chikara. And even those he's had Chuck Taylor on commentary with him, and it's been so Chikara pilled. It's not funny. If you ever watched Chikara and thought this is funny, but there's too many sex pests, watch Mystery Wrestling.
It's kind of like Chikara crossed with PWG Mystery Vortex.
Yeah,
they don't announce any matches. They'll announce usually like 1 talent for the show, maybe 2 at a push,
and who's on comms.
It'll be like a big name, like who's going to be like in the main event. So like. And then they'll announce it'll be RJ City or Hornswoggle or Chuck Taylor or Dan Reichert or someone who's going to be like the commentator, and they're just like usually they're pretty good, and they either act befuddled like RJ City did, or they just go along with it like Chuck Taylor did.
Yeah.
Although the moment where RJ City came out as Future London Lightning was fucking incredible.
Oh, so good.
Yes, it was. Also, they're about to crown their first ever champion. They've got a tournament on the 19th of January.
Nice.
They've announced 6 names so far, and I think it's too much, but also I think they're going to just do the brackets and mystery.
Nice.
So far, it's Psycho Mike, Cecil Nix, Michael Oku, Scotty Too Hottie.
Michael Oku?
Yeah, he got today. Stu Grayson, and another guy that I've never heard of.
What they need to do is have all the other wrestlers dressed up as the other wrestlers. So
also shout out to the time when Joey Janela appeared as CM Punk.
And Uno had a midlife crisis.
Yeah. It was a week after Punk got fired.
But if you want to watch Mr. Wrestling, Evil Uno streams it live on his Twitch channel.
It's
And
gonna
it's a very
be on their YouTube channel as well.
nice, and it's also on very UK friendly times. When we starts about 8 o'clock UK time. 10.
It's usually 10 till about midnight.
Unless it's daylight savings.
Yeah, and if you want to, you can go. You can't watch it on demand unless you subscribe to their Patreon. But then you get all of them, and it's quite cheap. I think
quite
Brian's got it, hasn't he?
price. Yeah, I think it's like.
If you get the really expensive one, you get a signed poster though, which is fucking awesome. From like all the talent on that show.
Yeah.
Right. So then we have to basically pick out of AEW All In and AEW Revolution. Now, we were all at All In, so that is probably going to carry a bit of emotional weight.
I cried lots of tears when Nigel McGuinness.
So both shows had like year-defining moments.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We had Sting's last match versus Bryan Danielson wins AEW title.
We did. They both also had match of the year contenders on.
They both had at least one match that's in our match of the year list later. Probably, I think they both had 2.
Yeah.
I just think it's All In for how it made me feel.
And I think just when you add like the crowd and the venue and like the whole build up and like the whole call in is just it's more like a spectacle, which I think gives it a little bit of edge over Revolution.
Yeah, that's fair. I think the only thing I'd say is in sort of defense of Revolution is that it had a bit of a more well-rounded card as far as like variety goes. All in was a lot of like sort of
the same type of matches.
There was a lot of singles matches. There was there was 2 triple threat matches, I believe, if I remember rightly. There was the tag team title one and the trios one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did not care for that tag team title match.
No, I didn't give a fuck about it. Because it was
what did Revolution have? Let's have a little looky look.
I enjoyed it because it had the books on it, but also, as much as I love the books, and we know this, but they shouldn't have won.
Oh, I don't know. Revolution had Eddie Kingston beating Bryan Danielson.
Revolution had Bryan vs Kingston, which was a banger. It had the TNT title match between Christian and Garcia, which was very good.
Roddy beating Orange for the international title.
It had that weird eight-man scramble match, which was better than it should have been. Even if it did have Chris Jericho in it. BCC versus FTR, which was an absolute banger.
Yeah.
It had Joe versus Swerve and Hangman, where Hangman like passed out looking at Swerve with pure hate.
I am happy for it to go to Revolution for the weight that it held.
I think that card's just too good.
Do you
know what All In had? It had Mercedes Moné versus Britt Baker.
I mean, that
match made me infinitely sad.
That being said, All In.
I just think that
All In did have Bryan Danielson winning the world title, which should be an instant win for me.
It had Bryan Danielson
Zack Sabre Jr., Nigel.
Yeah. It had Danielson coming out to the final countdown.
I'm giving it to All In.
Yes.
I just wanted to give Revolution its flowers because up until that point it was Revolution by like a country mile for me.
It's head versus heart, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you look at the 2 cards on paper, you say it's Revolution. But then if you think, what did those shows make me feel? It's All In.
Yeah.
I was already a mess honestly, like Nat was like, "Are you okay?" Because I was in floods of tears.
As you know, we make emotional decisions.
Yeah, we do.
Also, Mariah versus Tony was fantastic.
Yeah.
And the pop that Jamie Hayter got on the pre-show.
Hayter came back on the pre-show and beat Saraya so bad she just disappeared off the face of the earth, which is
very true.
And Ronnie couldn't be in the country to perform, so even better.
It was the best, wasn't it?
Okay, it's All In. Yeah.
Yeah.
Congratulations, All In. Revolution, very close second. And then not too far behind that is Evil Uno and all his mates having a comedy wrestling tournament and like show in like
It's
a
like our
bingo
favorite
hall in
time of the
Canada.
month, mystery wrestling, though, isn't it?
Mystery Wrestling legitimately has my favorite storyline of the year in it, which is
Psycho Mike.
which is Psycho Mike looking for a cure for being a piece of shit.
So I mean, Psycho Mike will get his flowers soon. Don't you worry
Oh,
about that.
don't no, that don't you fucking worry about that.
Right. Next up, then we got Breakout Star. So this is someone who's had like a really good year. Put them in, doesn't necessarily have to be someone who was unknown at the start of the year, but someone who's like traveled a long way from where they started the year
Yeah.
in terms of like their position on the card and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So our nominees are Daniel Garcia, Jack Perry, Kyle Fletcher, Mariah May, Big Bill, Beast Morthos, The Outrunners, Hologram, Sol Ruka, and Mr. Danger. Who the fuck is Mr. Danger?
He's some guy who jumps off shit in GCW that Ryan likes.
He's gone.
He's good, but he's not.
Thanks for coming.
He doesn't hold a candle to anyone else on that list. Sorry,
No.
Mr. Danger.
I'm tempted to take off Hologram just because he had that injury and he's not really been around a lot.
I think Hologram's gonna have a bigger year this year than he will
Yeah,
last.
he's laid the solid groundwork, but I don't think he's
Yeah.
been able to kick on because of that injury. So I think
He's had
just-
some banger matches this year as well, though.
he has, especially with someone else who I want to keep on this list, which is the Beast Mortos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Frank Mortas ain't going anywhere, mate.
Thank you for changing my life. I am literally the Beast Mortos.
Mm-hmm.
That's become my favorite meme of the entire last 12 months. I would like to. These are hard cuts now. I'm not going to be that prick who's like, let's kick out Sol
Can
Ruka
I-
because
Sol
Can I
Ruka is
say
very
that
impressive.
Daniel Garcia, like, I feel like he broke out last year and he's just reaping the rewards this year.
I'm with you here. I personally would take off both Garcia and Perry.
Yeah.
I was going to suggest Perry just because I think he's not quite. I think like you say, I think Daniel Garcia was a little bit before this, and I think Perry's going to come a little bit after this. Almost.
I think Jack Perry winning the TNT title was needed, but also I wouldn't necessarily say he wasn't in that position
The year before. Yeah.
before he got suspended from AEW.
Yeah,
He was already pretty much in that position. It's
Yeah.
just he went away for a bit, and then they had to get him back into that position.
He's also previously had like a world title shot as well. Like
Yeah.
he's had
Okay.
like plenty of big moments.
I'll take them both off, but I want to acknowledge they both did really good work for the TNT title.
I
this
think
year.
they both had excellent years.
Bad
And
bitches forever.
And shout out to Jack Perry for literally forging his own belt.
Yeah.
And also getting chained to the front of his spooky bus and having Daddy Magic drive it around like a cocaine.
and getting set on fire.
Multiple times.
Yeah, respect to both of them. That was great.
Oh.
Yeah, that bit with Daddy Magic like did a fucking cocaine drive on him. That was excellent. Shout out to I know he hasn't wrestled much this year, if at all, but shout out to Matt Menard. In fact, I'm going to put him on a category later. I'm going to add him in as a hot flyer.
I know what that category is.
Yeah.
'Cause I can see the list.
Big Bill.
I think
I don't-
he's had a great year, but I don't think he's had as good a year as everybody else on that
I
list.
don't think he quite hangs on the list. Respect to the time when they basically all of the fans in Cardiff basically hijacked the broadcast and got him like over as a face.
I think Big Bill is the thing that he's broke out on isn't in ring. It's his promo work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Like-
just life, man. Like man's
And
fucking
life,
clean.
yeah.
He looks fucking great. He got married. You know, he's had a fucking hell of a year.
But he's so funny, like unintentionally as well, I think. But he is just so funny. Like that promo he did where like Jericho was cutting a promo and Big Bill was just like admiring the architecture of the stadium, while Brian
Yeah.
keeps stealing athletic tape in the background.
Yeah.
For someone who spent his like entire WWE career like not saying anything.
Yeah,
he
he's a
is-
heater, and
Yeah.
You can say so much.
even it's not really a big spoiler, but on Dynamite last night there was a bit with him and Adam Copeland where Adam Copeland said he didn't like his face, and Big Bill was like, "It's like looking at a mirror." It was very funny. Yeah,
I love Big Bill. I just don't quite think he hangs here.
I think there's people who deserve to be on this list a lot more.
Outrunners, can we talk about them?
Yeah, for me, I think they're another one that are probably going to have a bigger year this year than they got to last year.
Now, do you think they've been sunk by FTR a bit?
No, I think the initial plan was they were going to go into a feud with FTR. and then they realized, ah, shit, we kind of need FTR as faces because we need them for this whole cope thing.
Yeah, and we
Mhm.
can't have. It was weird because the FTR are like sort of they have to be like on the front line against the Death Riders, but they
Mm.
also couldn't like be face against the Outrunners because no one's going to cheer FTR over the Outrunners because charisma.
I think FTR will eventually turn on the Outrunners. I think they've just kind of like planted the seeds. I think there's still like a little ways of a way to go, especially if like
Ironically, I think they're going to do a bit of a Tony Storm Mariah May angle with the FTR and not so much, but it's going to be like FTR are going to get jealous. It's FTR are going to get like jealous of the Outrunners getting bigger pops than them, and like
well,
because they're doing all the flex offs, aren't they? And like
uh,
and
yeah,
like eventually Dax is start going to get like a little bit pissed off that like the Outrunners are getting bigger cheers or something, and they're going to start like shunning them a bit, and then they're going to start like then they're going to batter them at one
well,
point, and then they're going to have a blood feud, and then they're probably all going to jet ski around Miami together afterwards, like
the whole
friends.
thing the whole thing is FTR want to be a throwback to what tag teams were like in the 80s, whereas the Outrunners are what the 80s were.
Mm.
Yeah.
Plus, I'd argue just because of real life situations, you couldn't really turn FDR heel when they're like literally raising money for hurricane victims.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the other thing I was thinking of. I feel like
We
they are
always said,
gonna,
"What have FDR done this year?" Like that's what they've done this year, and it was actually
Yeah.
really good. So
yeah, they took time out to raise money for like Hurricane Helene victims and
also shout out to fucking Cope who was pulling like dead bodies out of the rubble when he was like healing his broken leg.
yeah,
Oh.
yeah, big love for Cope. Um,
Um, so
yeah,
yeah, I think we take the Outrunners out just because I think their big year is going to be this year.
yeah, same. Um, Same with Sol Ruka because I think she's from what I've seen of her, I've not seen a ton. She is
Queen
very
Aminata's also had a very good year.
she has. Um, I think Sol Ruka is very impressive, but I think they kind of just like on the sort of tip of the iceberg with her at the moment. They've not really.
Is she on main roster now? Or?
No, she's still on NXT. She's still largely in the position she was in. It's just they've added that mid card belt to give her a chance to.
I was gonna say, well, that's my argument. Then it's like for it to be like a
But
true
she hasn't
breakout.
won it.
I think she'd have to get onto main roster and like sort of
Or
I
or,
don't
or win gold.
or be
Or win
NXT
gold.
Women's Champion.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay. So I think she's again. We'll put a pin in her for like
She's
next
very
year.
good. She's very good. I think there's a reason why the weird WWE people seem to think she's better than Will Ospreay, but
Isn't that just a horny NXT crowd who goes like, "Oh look,
it
hot woman
it's
do
because
wrestle."
she's basically like done like a lot of stuff that Will Ospreay was doing like
She
a
does
couple
the Oscar, doesn't she? Which is
um,
like, and they're like, "Oh look, she's just
no,
like Will Ospreay."
she does oh what's his fucking name? Dante Leone's one where he does like a shooting star into a cutter.
Oh nice. Okay.
It's very cool. But she's done like a few like Osprey-ish spots, which is why people are like, oh, she's better than Will Ospreay, and she's not.
So
That's not
so
against.
we've got our top three now, and two of them we haven't talked about yet. Mariah May.
Yeah,
Um, there's no one in the AW Women's division who does what Mariah May can do.
Yep.
she had the most women's matches in AEW last year as well.
Which is insane when you think about like where she was as like a basically not a rookie, but like I know they brought her in as like a sort of her whole character was meant to be that she was like just getting started. I know she's got a lot of history wrestling in Japan, but considering she'd never really wrestled on like an American television show before, and now you wouldn't know that at all, would you? I mean, you can tell. You can tell. So when she was in the UK before she went to Japan, she was on a drama show about or a comedy show about wrestling, like a sitcom, and you can tell she's got camera experience, she's got acting experience, she's really comfortable in front of the camera. She doesn't like she can cut a promo by herself in the ring, and she doesn't get her words wrong. And then she can just do fucking strong style women's like Joshi wrestling. Like it's
I feel like
fucking
I
nothing.
waited months for Mariah May before she was even announced for AEW to like come to AEW. Like, and she just feels like the biggest reward, I think, for me. But was the feud with Tony like did it start this year or was that last year? Did she only debut this year?
She debuted in October 23.
But the feud started this year. The feud started when she won the Owen.
The feud itself started in July.
Yeah.
The storyline started in October. The feud itself started in
But would you say she broke out last year though?
no. I would absolutely say she broke out this year.
Mm.
Okay.
because she only had a handful of matches on AEW TV last year.
Mm.
It was all like just like bits and bobs on Rampage and stuff like that.
It was little squash matches, wasn't it, for the
Yeah,
first bit?
she went from that to then
Was
the
it like that match with Willow that like was sort of like turning point?
That was the Owen final, wasn't it? That was
Yeah.
like,
yeah.
oh shit, yeah.
Well, all the matches she had in the Owen were like
In the Owen were amazing. Yeah.
she did have a couple. She had like that match against Deonna Purrazzo earlier in the year, which was really good, where Deonna beat her. And then she's the fact that she like obviously as we say as I say she's been like there since October. She went from like student teacher thing with Tony. When she won that belt, it was very much I thought a make or break moment for her because, as Ben said, it was can she then step up into that next level? And she not only did she step on up into it, but she made it look like she's been doing it the whole time she's been there.
Yeah.
And I think Mariah May is one of the biggest stars they've got in the company right now. I think
she feels like a final boss, doesn't she,
yeah.
of that division, which is really hard to do.
Yeah, and even like one of the things that I personally criticized quite a lot that AEW have been doing recently is that they've had an idea for something for like a bigger show, and they've just been kind of spinning the wheels while they get there. Case in point, this thing with Mariah, with obviously the rematch with Tony's probably happening in Australia.
Yeah, because they had one in England, so now they'll have one in Australia.
Yeah, and that's not until February. And even then, it's like Mariah's still been able to kind of do like some like sort of like side quests and shit like that. Where
Yeah.
Like, look at World's End here, and Thunder Rosa pulled that feud out of their asses, and it was fine.
Yeah,
and the match was great.
Yeah, the match was really good.
And so, she's been able to have good matches with people. She's been able to have like interesting stories with people. And
did she have that really good match with Anna Jay?
She had like a trilogy with Anna Jay, and it was really good.
To be fair, all her matches have been consistent.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like Mariah's been able to like just have things thrown together, and it's not felt like she's just been spinning her wheels. It's felt like an actual story.
Not to like shit on Mercedes Moné in that way, because like, but it feels like all of her matches been hit and miss this year because she hasn't gelled with every person she's fought with.
Oh, I disagree.
And do you know?
Really? I think she had one very bad match this year, and then I think
not even like bad though. Like
that have been okay.
The thing is though, so for me, like watching completely sweeping Britain thingy under the rug because we knew that was a dumpster fire, but like I expected a lot more from certain matches and didn't get them. It's like Shida for me.
I think
Mercedes and Shida didn't hit as well as I expected it to.
Yeah, I think the first Shida match didn't hit. I think the second one was much better. The one at All Out. Was it All Out? Yeah, it was All Out, wasn't it?
Yeah. Again, though, that didn't overwhelm me, though.
But the reason that I was about to say, the reason that didn't feel as good was because it followed Mariah and Willow tearing the house down. So it always was not going to. But I think
I don't know. I watched it twice, you know. Like
I don't know. Yeah. For me, the reason I didn't think it was as good was because Mariah and Willow would just tore the house down.
But I think that speaks more to Mariah as well. So to come into this division in a year where they've thrown all of this money and all of this like glitz and attention at Mercedes to still be standing out as a champion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think as well Mercedes being there has helped because I think it's brought
the women's division up, sure.
Because it's made Tony invest in the women's division like monetarily in like her contract and her like and Jen Peppermint's come over to right, and I think it's the entire women's division's benefited because there's more resources there now, like across the board. We need to talk about the elephant in the room.
The Minotaur.
No, not the Minotaur in the room. We'll talk about Mortos. He's a solid top three. I don't think he's still a kind of bit of a jobber to the stars. He's still like not quite the guy who wins.
Mortos is just a good hand. It's just he's been given more time to show how good he is.
I mean, TNA dropping out to Bully Ray and Tommy Dreamer. At least we're dropping him out to AEW, dropping him out to like all the guys in the C2, and like his matches with Hologram have been absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
he is a really good base for like all these little
Commander as
flippy
well.
boys. And Commander, yeah, Commander's had some great matches. Any little flippy boy with him has been an absolute revelation.
But then,
Um,
but then he's
And
had
then all the
matches.
stuff with the Kingdom's been brilliant.
Yeah.
yeah,
Then also he's had matches with guys like similar size to him, like Mark Briscoe, and they're also very good.
yeah.
Mhm.
I just think no, not what hurts Mortos, but the reason I love Mortos so much.
I
I
do.
think the reason he's not been pushed as like a top monster is because you've got guys like Brody Kingler
Hmm.
Yeah.
And
who have
also he's like in his late 30s, so he's very much like a guy who's there to just have good matches with people.
yeah, and
Yeah.
also before we he's a solid top three. Before we move on from him, have you seen those pictures of him with like without his like costume on?
Yeah.
Talk about the beast of Wartos. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He is a sexy boy. Okay.
Beautiful.
Speaking of sexy boys, we do need to talk about Kyle Fletcher because he's had a hell of a year.
He has.
Now, I would argue, and the internet are going to throw things at me here. I would argue, just from a pure across the board everything perspective, he's not had as good a year as Mariah.
No,
I
he hasn't.
I would absolutely agree. I think when you think of where Kyle Fletcher was at the end of last year, where Davis had just got injured, and it was like we all were talking about it, saying, "I hope they still use Kyle Fletcher. I hope they still give him a chance because he's the future of the company." Clearly, Tony had that vision as well because he gave him that opportunity to win the ROH TV title earlier in the year, and then
Is like that ROH TV title match was the match where I thought, fuck, this guy's got it.
yeah, and even like after that, like he's had like a plethora of like really good matches. Again, not in really concrete. He's just been like a multi-match guy, hadn't he? And then obviously Osprey was the feud that they were leaning into. That Osprey feud so far has been fantastic. Their work together has been out of this
The
world.
eventual
I know what.
Takeshita fuse is going to be amazing as
Oh,
well.
Yeah,
yes, when the Don Callis family explodes and then they all just beat up Don for a bit, maybe I don't know. Yep, what you said about Osprey, Jay. I think that the telling thing is that I know Osprey is great, and we'll have that conversation about Osprey later. But I think he can be a hard guy to hang with sometimes because of his style is so demanding and is so athletic and is so fast paced. And Kyle just doesn't miss a beat when he's in the ring with him.
but
Yeah.
the other thing to think of as well is if you look at the C2, the the diversity of opponents that Kyle Fletcher had in that match, in
Mm,
that tournament, sorry, and to obviously they booked him in such a strong position that he was the points leader. He won the most points. I think he lost one match, which was against Mark Briscoe. But
yeah,
every match he had in that tournament, he had a banger with Shelton, he had a banger with Garcia,
he
banger with
beat Okada.
Okada, beat Okada, banger with Mortos, obviously, because everyone has a banger with Mortos. They're all like really strong and a banger with Mark Briscoe as well, even though he lost.
Yeah,
They're all really strong opponents to like go against, but also to get great matches out of all of them. That speaks to like a talent that he's got there. It's not like, oh yeah, he's been carried through by all those people. He's given as much as he's got in all those matches.
yeah. And I think any other year he'd be the easy pick here, but I just think
If
Mariah's done
if it
more.
if it wasn't for the year that Mariah's had, Kyle Fletcher would have
Mhm.
walked this for me,
Are we all
100%.
are we
Yeah.
all good on Mariah then?
Yeah.
Right, congratulations to Mariah May, breakout star of the year, representing the wonderful nation of the United Kingdom. Long may she continue to be our women's champion.
Yeah.
Okay, best indie wrestler. So the sort of caveat for this is nobody who has appeared on an AEW, New Japan, or WWE pay-per-view only. They kind of popped up on TV. So our shortlist is Psycho Mike, Mance Warner, Sidney Akeem, Mr. Danger, Cecil Nix, Speedball Mike Bailey for now, and Masha Slamovich. Um, so
Can I say for me, there's just like people like Masha and Speedball, they don't feel like indie stars to me.
Because they're in TNA or were in TNA.
Yeah.
One of them was in TNA.
Yeah.
yeah,
What?
but TNA is still technically not like it's not one of the big three. And I'm sorry, TNA fans, I was one of you once. I've accepted it. Move on.
I don't know. Okay. But I just
We did have this debate last year as well.
didn't we have this exact same debate about Speedball last year?
But
Yeah.
I think what you have to do here is grade on a curve almost. So you have to say like, right, am I going to be a little bit harsher on like the likes of Speedball and Masha of their match quality based on the fact that they're on like TNA shows and Maple Leaf shows, as opposed to someone like a Cecil Nix or a Psycho Mike?
The way
I mean, it's Psycho Mike for me, but
Psycho
that's
Mike's
just
winning it. Like it's a conclusion.
So
The
we
rest
couldn't
of
we
it,
couldn't Psycho Mike then,
no, absolutely not.
fuck you.
I'll let you cut Cecil because Cecil is just I just put him on because he makes me laugh because he's
I do love Cecil. Cecil's got if you watched Chikara back in the day, Cecil's got big Icarus energy.
he has that's why I like him because he reminds me of Icarus because he reminds me of Icarus also like Bryan Danielson the way he like can't like keep a straight face ever.
So yeah, we love you, Cecil. Mystery Wrestling is the bomb, but Mr. Danger can go as well because he's just a lunatic who jumps off shit, right?
Pretty much, he's a good high flyer, but that's pretty much what he does. He just jumps off shit. From what I've seen.
Who is Sidney Akeem?
He was Reggie / Scripts in WWE.
Oh right, okay, yeah. So I've not been watching this guy, but apparently he's having a fucking time.
He's insane. He is like, so he's an ex gymnast, and he basically uses that into a lot of his moves. He does like his finishers. Basically, he does like a double backflip, throws his opponent against the ropes, does a double backflip. When they hit back, he hits it into a cutter. It's insane. He's really creative. He's been on ROH a few times. I'll be shocked if he doesn't get signed by AEW this year.
Right. Okay. Maybe he sticks around because I've seen a few clips of him doing shit, and it's been like really fucking good.
What he was able to do in WWE seemed to be just like them scratching the surface, and then they didn't really have anything for him. And he went, "Yeah, I'm gonna leave," and he went to the Indies, and he just does silly shit. GCW was smart enough to just basically throw him against like every high flyer they could. He's got a match with Vikingo at the GCW Hammerstein show.
Oh, nice.
Will be fucking if Vikingo's fit.
If Vikingo's knee still works.
Yeah. So that'll be nice.
Man, we did put Vikingo on this. I mean, he's been injured like a lot, hasn't he? So
I wouldn't say Vikingo's an indie wrestler because he's signed to AAA, and AAA is like
and AEW.
He's not signed to AEW.
Thought he was all elite.
Nope.
No.
Nope. He is signed to AAA.
Oh, okay.
But AAA is like the same level as like New Japan is in Japan.
Yeah. Do you watch much GCW? What's Mance's year been like?
Mance's world champion at the moment. He's had a good year.
I mean, is that laudable? Is that a thing that we want?
I mean, he's had a good year. I wouldn't.
Sorry, I'm gonna blab with you. The only time I've seen Mance Warner wrestle in inverted commas this year was in a fucking bullshit finish to a GCW show that had like 3 cash-ins in a row.
I remember you saying.
Oh yeah.
And it made me so angry.
He had a really good cage of death match with Effie. He then won the
Their feud has been really good this year, to be fair.
Uh,
But I mean, like it has. It's been. I've somewhat paid attention to it. It's dragged on
so fucking long.
Yeah.
Okay, so is this the year? I'm not saying he wins it, but is this year we give Mance his flowers and we put him in the top 3?
I would say it would probably be fair to give Mance his flowers for sure.
Okay. On that note, then, despite his clip ability, do we cut Akeem?
I think so because Speedball's been doing the fucking rounds everywhere, hasn't he?
And it feels like, without any spoilers, this could be his last year of eligibility for Speedball.
That's true.
So I think it's now or never for Speedy B.
Yeah,
didn't we do that with Leon last year for Indie Wrestler of the Year?
Yeah, and now he's I mean, he's still eligible because TNA is not effectively a proper promotion.
Masha has had a good year as well. I will say that
I love Masha.
She's won the JCW World Title. She's the TNA Women's Champion at the moment. And
I think last year was her year.
Well,
like in terms of like breakout, like her like.
I don't know. I think she's been like that for the last couple of years. To be fair.
Yeah.
She's been consistently very good, hasn't she? She's been consistent there.
She did have that match at Bloodsport this year where Shayna Baszler basically just continually curb stomped her, which was awesome. But
Yeah.
I'd be happy with either of them being in the final three.
I think one of Mance or Masha's got to go.
I think Masha goes.
Yeah, I'll be okay with that.
See, Faye, if you say that, it's not sexist, so that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Masha goes because I feel like Mance will probably never get to this position again.
This Mance here now feels like this feels like an Orange Cassidy situation where we have to give it to him now while it's hot.
Yeah.
So sorry, Masha, we love you. I literally bought a ticket for TNT GCW
Yeah.
just because you got announced on the card. So
Yeah.
I love you, but
I have a sticker of it on my computer.
And then I mean you
Psycho
can't
Mike.
the people's choice, the people's champ, the people's piece of shit.
I mean, who hits a better body slam than Psycho Mike?
Who wants to see a body slam?
I want to see a body slam.
I want to see a body slam.
The fact. Okay, let's put it aside from mystery wrestling for a second, because I saw Psycho Mike on another indie show this year, and that was Maple Leaf Pro's debut show.
Yeah,
where they had a 6-man scramble. I'm just gonna find out who was in it very quickly because I can't remember off the top.
Jay,
of my
do you know
head.
who was in it? It was Psycho Mike and 5 guys who got fucking body slammed.
I think there was more than 5 guys, but yes.
Wasn't he also on AEW and everyone fucking lost their shit?
He was in Ring of Honor in a backstage bit where Dalton Castle was auditioning new boys, and what the final boy that come out was Psycho Mike, and then he was like, "No, you're too weird," and yeah, he was just very good. But so here we go. It was no, it was 6-way. So Psycho Mike wrestled against Alex Zane, Jake Something, Shelton Jean, Stu Grayson, and Trevor Lee. All guys who've got a lot bigger names than Psycho Mike. And literally, the second Psycho Mike went in the ring and asked who wants to see a body slam, everyone was behind Psycho Mike.
Yeah.
Biggest pop of that match was that moment.
That, and then Psycho Mike rolling up someone to win the match.
Yeah.
But yeah,
he's done more for denim than anyone in human history.
He has.
I feel like that's Orange Cassidy, like erasure that.
I mean, Psycho Mike has denim trunks with a little zipper and pockets on the back.
Yeah.
Like him and Filthy Tom should be in a tag team.
He doesn't have them anymore because he's no longer a cowboy. He was cured. But yeah, back basically to just the Psycho Mike year that he's had. Other than that, in mystery wrestling, he was the thing that got me into it because I saw something on Twitter which was him working the hard cam. I was like, who is this guy and why have I not seen him wrestle before?
You calling it the Psycho Mike Award?
I mean, we probably rename it the Psycho Mike Award that he always wins. And
okay, I am bolding Psycho Mike. It's official. He is best indie wrestler.
His storyline's better than Cody's. I'm not even gonna. That's not even like me joking.
No, yeah,
being deadly serious. Psycho Mike finishing the story got me more excited than Cody finishing the story.
Yeah.
Right. From the Psycho Mike Award for Best Indie Wrestler to what is unofficially the Effie Award for LGBTQ plus Wrestler of the Year.
The Big Gay Award.
So nominees, we've got Effie, but not Ali. Anthony Bowens, Speedball Mike Bailey, Helen Charlotte Campbell, and Timeless Tony Storm.
Nice.
I put Helen because Helen's my girl.
She is fantastic as well. She's had a good year as well. Like,
she has. And she's been featured in like the news and shit as well, like the Guardian and stuff like that.
They're all very good ambassadors for LGBTQ community as well.
What's Stark Sheep been up to? Has she had a down year, or what's been going on with she?
She's mainly been doing Hood Slam stuff.
I mean, that's noble.
That is noble.
Yeah.
I mean, she got the Stoner Brothers to GCW this year, which was great.
she did get the Stoner Brothers. Did they wrestle? Is someone good with it?
Yeah, there was. I saw a clip the other week and it was fantastic.
Wasn't Cardona, was it? Oh no, you wrestled Effie.
Didn't they do bits of thingy as well at the Collective as well? Sheik and stuff.
Sheik did do some bits at the Collective, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember what because the Collective feels like
it's a fever dream every year, isn't it?
I'll tell you who
Um,
the Sterner brothers wrestled right now.
I'm gonna say for what it's done for LGBTQ wrestling, I'm gonna say it's Helen for me.
So
Like in
before we get
terms
onto
of
that,
the UK
so the Sterner
scene.
brothers had 3 matches in GCW. They wrestled Bussy, then they wrestled Los Macizos, and then they wrestled Garbage Daddies.
I was Lost Messias. That was the one I was on to.
That was Hit 'em Up.
A big tasty dream match right there.
Yeah,
Um,
Los
I
Macizos, a tag team at which half of them have tugged on my beard.
yes. Um, I'd be okay with going with Helen. I think
I
Helen.
would absolutely give this to Helen. I think, yeah, she did she wrestle in America this year?
Yeah.
Yeah, so she's gone international. Yeah, she's been solid all year.
Sorry, you broke up a bit there.
That's all right. Yeah, she's been great. Yeah,
Yeah.
Helen wins. No qualms.
No qualms there.
Do we disqualify Effie? Did he commit a party foul by destroying
Oh, saying that
a working relationship between two
because
companies?
I think if any,
because
keep Effie in for that. I would
I,
say take Tony Storm out because even though she does a lot of like
really good wrestling,
really good wrestling, she doesn't really
do stuff for the community.
yeah. But
hmm
I'd say keep Bones in there because Bones is like a pretty much like a what's the word I'm looking for?
Bowen's is an ambassador.
That's
Yeah.
the word.
You see him on like magazine covers and at like dinners and like at press events and stuff. He's always promoting wrestling as an out gay man, isn't he? And
Yeah.
he does a lot. And it
I
feels
think
it,
the
it feels a
final
bit
three.
it feels a bit automatic that we put Bowens in every year, but he's always in like Gay Times or he's on like the cover of
Yeah.
sports magazines, like talking about being closeted and being gay in the
Didn't you
wrestling
do that
community.
great article for Players Tribune this year as well?
I think that was this year, and if it is,
Yeah.
then he's an auto include absolutely because that was phenomenal. Yeah.
I think Effie should be an auto include purely because of obviously like Big Gay Brunch is
Yeah, what they do to lift up queer talent.
what it does to lift up talent, as Faye says.
And similar with Speedball, he's a fantastic wrestler, but I don't think he does that much for like LGBTQ plus awareness. He just does boss matches, which is great and it's fine and it's enough. But compared to the other 3 on the list, I think they do more.
It should be at that point though, eventually, where we should just be able to be like, they're great wrestlers, and then it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah, it's enough.
But
it's enough. Yeah.
The world that we're in, like,
sadly, yeah,
you do need to see yourself represented because it's nice. You know what I mean? Like,
I think when we interviewed Effie, one of us asked him, I think it might be me or Jay, like said like basically what's it feel like to be like the president of gay wrestlers, basically. And he was like, yeah, it shouldn't have to be like that.
yeah.
They shouldn't need to be a spokesperson for like the gay wrestling community, but there is, unfortunately, and it kind of on the indies, it's kind of him. And then he told that really, like, not funny story, but he told that story about when he was at the show and someone used a slur against one of the wrestlers, and he had to like restrain Sheik from killing them.
Yeah.
And it was like, you should have just let it go, mate. You should have just let it fucking do him in. It was
Yeah.
like,
That'd have been great.
So yeah, Anthony Bowens, Effie, and I think we give it to Helen for her
Helen. Yeah.
ocean crossing super tour and just generally being a top bad bitch.
Yeah. Well, the pronoun, I love the piece of merch that I always love that Helen has is the pronoun shirt, but it just says pure and evil.
Yes.
I've got a badge of that.
Yeah, me too. So good.
It is very.
Congratulations, Helen. Come back to Atomic so we can see you beat up people in a brewery once more.
And then sell merch immediately
Yeah.
after.
Right, feud of the year. Moving on, feud of the year. We've got Danielson versus McGuinness. We've got Hanger versus Swerve. We've got Timeless Tony Storm versus Mariah May. Cody versus Roman.
Get that
Effie
shit out there.
Effie versus Mansa. Drew versus Punk. And Cecil
No.
Nix versus London Lightning. I'm not going to suggest that we cut Cody versus Roman straight away. But if
I fucking am because
Yeah, me too.
that match was dog shit. That match was a load of people, and I know it's in the match one, so I'm just gonna say my little rant now, and then people can know
when
that.
we get to the match one, just skip back to this moment
when we get
and
back
listen to this again.
Yeah, when we get
Yeah.
back to the match one, people can understand why. I'm just gonna say this as well. All that match was about 10-15 minutes of a pretty serviceable match, and then a load of nostalgia run-ins which didn't need to fucking happen and took away from the match. And it was all like guys like The Rock trying to make it about themselves, and it was like, and people will be like, "Oh, but Seth being the last person who told a good story." That's bullshit. The story shouldn't be about people outside of the feud. It should be about the two people in the fucking feud.
Yeah.
Remember that bit
Oh,
where The Rock came out the other week and counted 1, 2, 3, and then didn't explain what it was to do, and then just fucked off again.
yeah, The Rock coming out with this fucking his belt that Muhammad Ali's wife gave him because he's a fucking man going through a midlife crisis.
No,
Get the
I've got to be careful here because if I slander The Rock, I'm going to catch some
I'll
strays.
I'll fucking slander The Rock all the time in the world. You can fucking put me on loudspeaker if you want. I'll do it. The Rock's a fucking joke. He's god awful. He's a lying man, and he's having the worst midlife crisis ever because he puts fucking clauses in his film contract so he can't be made to look weak. Get the fuck out of here with that, Dwayne, you piece of shit. Anyway,
Yeah.
next. Um,
Wow. Okay. So Effie versus Mance, we talked about it a bit before, but does it hang?
No.
I think it had one well, no, it had a couple of really good matches, and it was really hot when it started. And the fact that it's kind of dragged on still is why I'm a bit like, ugh.
I feel so bad for Effie. He's like the nearly man of GCW, isn't he? He never quite gets the title.
Can
Yeah,
I say something controversial? I don't think Danielson McGuinness hangs. They've had one match. I get it. I understand. But it's not a feud of the year because it's been going on for fucking ever.
that's fair.
And I just think
wouldn't-
there's just,
I
yeah.
don't know. I see where you're coming from. On one hand, Faye, I appreciate that is incredibly good logic. On the other hand, right before that match happened, I watched The Last of McGuinness and cried a lot.
I understand because it makes me cry
Also,
too.
it with this, there was a lot of like tertiary stuff that led to the match that to making the match feel more special than it was. Like
It's been
Nigel,
going on for like over a year though.
I
yeah,
would
Like,
argue, in fact, Faye, as a counterpoint, I would argue the fact that they only had one match,
yeah.
yet still created
yeah,
this
yeah.
whole situation,
Well, look,
shows what they
And
did, what
Danielson
they've had.
didn't bite back once.
yeah, and look, the fact that Nigel was mouthing off on commentary for over a year, he then realized that Bryan Danielson was potentially going to be leaving Wembley as the world champion. So he came out of retirement and put himself in a match where he would get a world title shot at his choosing to then
Yeah.
to try and stop
To have it
Danielson.
stolen as well from him as well though, like
Yeah, and then eventually to like that sort of like 2 weeks of build for Grand Slam
oh, don't
made
get
that,
me wrong, like
made that match. I would absolutely argue that Danielson and McGuinness deserves to be in there.
okay.
And
I'm
that's
not
on
saying
Nigel,
it
and
doesn't.
that's
I'm
all on
just
Nigel
saying
because
like
Nigel did so much of the lifting for that match.
Nigel
Because
built that feud on his own.
yeah, because Danielson was like legit hurt and couldn't be at the show. So Nigel, and remember that episode where Nigel, like literally the last Dynamite, where Nigel just did that whole piece to the camera, like addressing. It was like remember when Clint Eastwood did that empty chair thing to Obama, except this was good.
Yeah.
um not to be like a massive AEW mark or anything, but I think top 3 goes through.
I mean, it's looking that way. Isn't it?
Whoa. Oh, hold the fuck on now. We've got to get Drew and Punk out first. I can get to fuck.
Yeah, that can get to fuck. Yeah, obviously.
Because again, fuck CM Punk. Also, a lot of it was just Drew saying funny.
Friendship bracelets.
Yeah, the feud was about a friendship bracelet that lost fucking points for me. Let's talk about Cecil Nix versus London Lightning because I mean, this is the only other storyline that Mystery Wrestling's consistently ran this year. And it started off with an extremely ruled match where basically it was a 10-minute Iron Man match where the rules were enforced to an extreme amount. There was a ref bump in this match where there was a double table, Eddie Guerrero table spot, which was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. That was amazing. There was then an over the top rope 8-man tag rumble where when one partner got eliminated, another come in, and the referee was on both teams. That was amazing. And then it ended in a literal death match, which ended in actual time travel from future London Lightning,
An actual death.
who then drank poison and died, so Cecil Nix wouldn't become a martyr and people think he's a good wrestler. And it was all fucking fantastic. And that was over like 4 shows.
I understand. So I'm gonna say you're kicking off Effie and Mance. I'm gonna say, what are you replacing out of that top 3 with Cecil versus London?
Oh no, I'm not. I'm just saying.
What?
I just didn't want you to dismiss it without me talking about it.
Oh, I'm not, because as soon as you start talking about it, I was like, yeah, and it ends in actual death. Actually, no one else has died. So
I mean, well,
It's
Hangman.
almost
unless
unfair,
Tony
isn't it?
Storm
Like,
did run away, though.
it's almost unfair that you've got like 3 stories there that are like literally like 3 of the best stories AEW have told since the end of Kenny and Hanger.
And all in this year. Well, again, like Tony and Mariah and Hangman and Swerve both start at the end of like the same time, like around
Can
September.
I say
October.
that we can strike Hanger and Swerve off purely because I don't think the feud's done?
No, because
Oh, okay.
I think
Because it ran through so many of the big moments this year.
Yeah,
in
it did.
AEW.
Oh no, it's still going on for me though in my head. But
Oh, no,
that's because I overthink
it
everything.
100% is. They're like Batman and Joker. They're going to do this forever.
But if you think about like how they brought them both into Blood and Guts, how Hanger ran in at
Is
Wembley.
this the elite argument again?
No. So no, I don't.
Burned that man's house down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with
Yeah.
with all respect to Cecil Nixon on the Lightning, great, but
Cool.
a very close fourth, I think.
Yeah.
I think it's between Hanger and Tony.
I'm with you, and
I'm leaning into Hangman and Swerve purely
I mean,
because
just the house fire.
Yeah.
that's the best segment of the entire year for me.
I
Yeah.
remember watching that live, and like just me and Sarah were just sat there with like our mouths open.
It was so the thing that's so good about the Hangman and Swerve feud was that like it was almost like Hangman was addressing Swerve and Swerve was ignoring him. Like the whole that all the promos he did during the Owen, like the whole he broke into my home. You chose him to one. That was incredible. Then it was the Casino Battle Royal one, wasn't it, where he attacked Uno and then he was like,
Yeah.
"I'm going to burn his world to the ground," and just talking about like doing whatever it took to stop Swerve. Then him running in on it at All In and costing Swerve, and then the whole burning the house down was like the cherry on top of the cake. It was.
I mean,
I
one of
think
the
as well.
one of the moments for me in all of wrestling this year was after the cage match when like Hanger was just on the ramp, just screaming because he realized what he'd become.
And he went through the heel tunnel.
Yeah,
And yeah, embracing that as well, and now he's just the biggest bastard ever.
As well though, the most horrific moment in wrestling for me this year was not even the house burning down. It was me being so caught up in how lovely Swerve buying his childhood home was.
we all
And
we all
then
got
Jay,
well.
all
and
said
then
it.
Jay turned round to me and was like, Faye. And I was like, and then the horror before it had even happened, because I was like, oh no.
I forgot.
I got worked. I was like, oh, that's such a lovely story. Like it's great
Yeah.
to see.
I
And then it's like,
completely forgot I called that afternoon.
Oh, it was so awful. Like I had such a crisis up until, because I watched, obviously we all watched Dynamite live, but like I had the crisis at like, I think it was at like 3 o'clock, because we saw that and I was talking to you while I was in work, and then you were like, Faye, and then I just fell apart then, like
I think I
just in the
literally said,
office.
"Babe, how long till Hangman burns that down?"
Yeah, I was like, what? No, it was awful. Like,
I
yeah.
mean, I just before we crown Hanger right in Swerve rightly and move on, I just want to give a special shout out to Timeless Tony Storm Mariah May, because if you look at like the sort of the history of that feud, it sort of started as like a sort of master apprentice thing. There was a good amount of like chaotic gay energy in there,
Mhm.
and then
Props
it got pivoted into an actual blood feud.
Props to RJ City.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Nigel for support.
I would say that was his greatest work, but then we discount the Costco guys being on AEW.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
Beast Mortos
and Beast
Yes.
Mortal.
and Abaddon.
And I will say as well about the Tony and the Mariah feud. Obviously, like for me, I think you guys will probably agree. Mariah's heel turn was the best that they've ever done in AEW.
Yeah.
Because we all thought it was going to happen like at a match, didn't we? Like maybe they were going to have a match and they'd do a turn during the match, but for her to just
We thought she was going to do it during the All In match.
yeah, but for her to pull the trigger early was genius. That like
Yeah, it
because
was wild, wasn't it?
that shot of her like covered in blood with the shoe in her hand, like having busted Tony open with it was just
It
incredible.
gave us the moment at like Comic-Con as well, where Tony was like, "I'm going to doom her womb," and then they started to chant, and she totally broke character, which is brilliant, and I still think about that now.
Respect to both of them, but yeah, I mean, only one feud had literal property destruction.
Yeah,
So,
and they've recently brought that back on Blue Sky as well with the other angle.
So
which
Daniel,
is
because it's like, oh no,
terrifying.
this was a real fire. This wasn't a green screen. We actually shot this. We made this happen. Yeah. With respect
Also,
to
the little story on Blue Sky over Hanger and Swerve as well.
yeah.
Oh, the
Like
first person Swerve followed was Hangman.
And Hangman's like, I can't give up where I live because someone will come and stab me in my garden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
In a year of excellent feuds, and eight, we don't have storylines though, so I don't know how any of these are winning.
it's just a t-shirt company, remember?
I think I'd go as far as saying that Hangman is the best storyteller of this generation because of like every feud he's done in AEW has been captivating, and all the character development he's had in the last 18 months has been
Even like remember like the other year, like the feud he had with Moxley when he got concussed, and like they spun that into a big thing, didn't they? And that was incredible.
Because I will start talking about how all of this has spanned from that moment.
I was
with
gonna
Mox.
say
like
I'd argue saying that was like along with losing the title and then them like not being able to get the job done against Mox for the title, like that's all like bled into Hanger's downfall.
that's the start. Like I can't.
Yeah.
I'll go into it too much.
Right, Hanger and Swerve feud of the year. Let's move on.
Yes.
Well done, everyone. Commentator of the year. I'm going to add one in, which is it's the one you thought of, Jay. The one you thought I was going to do.
Is it Daddy Magic?
Yeah, I'll call him by his proper name. Okay, best commentator. We've got Ian Riccaboni, Nigel McGuinness, Michael Cole, Excalibur, Walker Stewart, and Daddy Magic.
That's a good collection.
Oh, that's so hard.
I'd say Riccaboni stays.
Yeah, Riccaboni goes up, I think.
100%.
I'll just put him on, but I think we can take Daddy Magic off. I just wanted him to get a little shout out.
Yeah, that's fair.
He's done a great job.
Honorable
really
mention.
But he just doesn't hang on this list. These are titans of the industry here.
I would say that I would, until today, Walker Stewart was on there as just, again, similar sort of thing, just wanting an honourable mention. However, the work he did on the Mercedes versus Hazuki match was phenomenal.
Right, okay.
And this guy's like only like in his early 20s, so he's got
okay.
ahead of them.
Nice.
So he's only going to get better. So
do we take Excalibur off?
Nah, I don't know, because Excalibur's fantastic.
Yeah, but I feel like he's not. He's been consistently good, but I don't think he's ever hit the heights of some of the other guys on this list.
Can I say that Nigel goes off? Because a lot of his stuff this year has been to feed his own storyline.
Yeah.
I don't know. Was this the year?
And the Mariah storyline.
No, it was last year. I'm thinking of last year when it was. What was that match that he was really good in? It was Zack Sabre Jr. versus Danielson. That was last year. So.
Oh, that was brilliant. But yeah, I'd say a lot of his commentary work this year has been that.
Actually, that being said, in Danielson's retirement match, he was incredible.
Yeah, like just that like when it actually happened, and like the bell rang and Danielson was done, like when he sold the realization of it hitting him. It
wasn't even that. It was during the match.
He looked horrified.
So Mox pie faced him, didn't he? And then Nigel was like, "What the fuck?" And then it was like the realization that like at first he was giddy because like I'm gonna get to see Danielson retired, and it was the realization that the one thing that he's always rooting against what does he do? What does Nigel have left to fight?
And then the
Person he's
follow-up
fighting
interview with Wheeler Yuta as well was amazing.
Mm.
Like the
So
sit down where he was
I
like,
think if we're on the fence with one of them, I think it's Excalibur who goes, not Nigel.
I'd be inclined to agree there.
Okay.
I love you, Excalibur, sexy man in the mask, but you know. So then we got
Michael
four.
Cole is good.
We can't just cut all the WWE ones all the
We
time.
can.
People will get angry.
I mean,
Troy will get angry.
I don't even think Troy would get angry. I think Ryan might, but fuck Ryan. He's the worst person I know. But that being said, for full disclosure to everyone who was listening to this that is wondering why none of us watch WWE.
Yeah. I can't
Ryan,
really comment on it. Like,
yeah, Ryan, who does social media for us, who was meant to be on this podcast, has added all these WWE picks, and then
And is not here to defend them.
and is not here to defend them. Therefore, we can't really justify going, oh yeah, this is really good when we don't watch it.
The only thing I'll say about Michael Cole, in his defense, as someone who's vaguely aware of him, they put some fucking shit next to him sometimes, and he makes it work.
That's very true. I'd be okay taking Walker out and putting Michael Cole through.
I think Walker's got time, hasn't he, on his side?
Walker's got time on his side, and Walker's been fantastic for New Japan this year. But I think he's only really just getting started with what he's going to be able to do. I think
Fair.
I think this weekend's going to be the weekend that we're going to be turning around and going, oh yeah, Walker Stewart's a fucking incredible commentator, because we're going to literally have 2 shows of him doing his top level.
Is he doing comms for Wrestle Dance as well?
I imagine he'll be doing both. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay, I'll keep an ear out for him, and I'll have because I've not heard him, so I'll keep an ear out for him, and I'll have a crack, see what he's all about.
He sounds like Ian Riccoboni with a deeper voice, and he's also
Right.
gigantic.
So we've got 3 names here, but only one of them raps Billy Nightingale to the ring.
It's Riccoboni.
didn't he win last year?
I don't care.
He wins every year because the best commentator lives in.
So the Ian Riccoboni Award
No,
goes to Ian Riccoboni.
Listen, Faye. The place we store the best commentator award is the Riccobone Zone. It doesn't leave the Riccobone Zone because it's Ian Riccoboni winning it every year because he is the best.
Okay.
Not only is he a fantastic commentator, he also made Kevin Kelly exile himself from the industry.
Yes. Give him his flowers. Give him everything.
He did.
Oh.
So for that, Ian Riccoboni, you are the most beautiful commentator and also the best.
And
his commentary on Final Battle was amazing as well.
And he did get that lovely moment with Big Boom AJ, and Big Justice.
So that's what I love most about Riccoboni. Is like he comes in for AW every now and then, and he always like feels like a breath of fresh air, and he always feels like a different energy. But then when you watch Ring of Honor with him and Caprice, they feel so familiar and so like lived in and so like comfortable.
Speaking of Riccoboni, before we move on, did you see what he did on Blue Sky during the last episode of Rampage?
No.
So obviously it was pre-recorded. So at the start of it, he posted this picture of him, Tony Schiavone, and Daddy Magic, and was like,
I did see that. Yeah,
honored to start my new job as the lead broadcaster of Rampage. Here's to many more years ahead. And then literally through the show, people were going to him, Ian, it's the last episode. He's like, why do people know so much about my job security when I don't? Excalibur was playing into it, going, "Oh yeah, Ian's a great replacement for me. I'm happy to have moved on from this." And Ian, many happy years ahead with Ian.
Incredible.
And then at the end of it, he like when Mox pulled it off the air, he just put like, "Oh, that was short lived." And he put like a notes app thing saying like he was grateful for the opportunity.
It's also the one, I think it was like the week before, the week that he did Ring of Honor. And then he did the Hammerstein, and he was like, how did I change clothes so quickly?
Yeah. And Excalibur said, I'm really happy to be with your twin brother, Ian Riccoboni, but it was spelled Ian with 2 eyes.
Yeah.
Right, we'll move on then. We're on to the big 3 now.
Oh, this is going to be a hard one.
So this is Female Wrestler of the Year. And we've got Mariah May, Athena, Mina Shirakawa, Timeless Tony Storm, Willow Nightingale, Chris Statlander, Mercedes Moné, Liv Morgan, and Rhea Ripley.
Mm.
So I'm gonna offer the olive branch here to the WWE stands. I'm gonna say first off the bat, I think we take Mercedes off because she's good, but I think every great match she's had has been with another woman on this list who has had better matches with other people.
Yeah.
What about Stephanie McCare?
Um, what about her? What, you mean the match Mercedes had, or
Yeah.
should we put her on the list?
No, I mean the match Mercedes had.
Oh, it was very good. Yeah,
Mercedes has had some fun. Like I'd say since September, Mercedes has been the level that everyone expected her to be on
yeah.
Mhm.
when she signed. I think even then, I still think it was only the Brit match that like gives everyone a fucking dampener on it, to be honest. And the two Shida matches as well were not great, but I think everything that Mercedes has done since that has been on a
Yeah.
different level.
The stuff with Anna was brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll park that for a second then. If we need to make a cut,
And we
I'm
cut
trying.
Liv.
I mean, I'm trying not to cut all the
The-
WWE wrestlers straight away.
No,
Anyway.
I'm not
I
saying.
will say so. First of all, the more controversial one, I'm going to say cut Rhea because Rhea had a big chunk of time where she was injured after WrestleMania.
So
Yeah.
again, I don't follow the product, but I've seen a lot of discourse online saying that Rhea hasn't wrestled enough this year.
That's correct. Rhea's been injured quite a lot, and then when she hasn't, when she hasn't been cleared, she's basically just been on there just to like fair the storylines. But she has had two severe injuries, to be fair.
Yeah, which is not her fault, and it
Mm.
sucks. But rules is rules. I
But
don't make the rules. In this case, we do. But whatever.
any other year for me, I'd say Rhea Ripley would probably be in top three because she is that good.
You can't just be muscle goth, mommy. You have to wrestle as well.
Yes.
If only we could all be muscle goth, mommy.
The same by the same sentiment, Liv Morgan has not had many good matches. Most of her year has been revolving around being a sex object for Dominic Mysterio.
Yeah, I don't like this thing. This is why I wanted her off. I didn't like the story.
I'm with Faye. I don't think
It didn't sit well with me with everything that went on as well.
Liv's not that good a wrestler either.
Also,
I
as I
like
said,
Liv.
there was a match
but-
where there was a match where Rhea and Liv had on. I think it was on a pay-per-view, or it was on. Sarah was watching it at one point, and the crowd. So this was like the whole point of obviously the feud was that Dom turned away from Rhea and went with Liv. And the crowd were chanting sloppy seconds at Liv, which one is incredibly degrading, and two isn't even accurate because she was Dom's. That's not how sloppy seconds work. Look it up.
Yeah.
Watch. Don't Google it, but fucking hell, educate yourselves. Yeah, I don't know this whole thing. The shark cage match. No one who was in that shark cage match should be on a best of the year list
No,
because
sadly.
I saw a bit of that and it hurt my soul.
It's just left a very bad taste in my mouth, like that entire thing.
I think given the timing of it as well, where they were doing a storyline about manipulating someone using sex, where WWE were getting sued. But fuck, I'll fucking say WWE were getting sued because their founder was human trafficking and using a love interest as a sex slave, essentially. There's no place for that in that company. In wrestling, at the full stop. But especially given what is going on in that company, it feels like they're parodying it. And fuck that.
I mean, Jay, if you wanted to be a bit more cynical, you could say that WWE has a tendency to run storylines that are very similar to real life storylines, so that if you Google the real life storyline, you actually get the made up storyline instead as a top result.
I never thought about it like that.
I mean, they literally did that with Logan Paul with his lawsuit.
Mm.
They genuinely did that when he was getting called out.
I'm not saying they
Like
do
the
that
Matt
on
Riddle
purpose.
stuff as well.
I'm not saying they do that on purpose, but they have done it several times.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, bye, Liv. Go and give Dom some chicken tendies or whatever the fuck the storyline's about. I don't know.
Right, who have we got left?
Mariah, Athena, I think Mina. Mina's a cut.
Yeah,
Mina's a cut.
I love her. She's been fantastic. She's been a revelation in AEW, but I don't think she's quite had the body of work that some of the women on here have had. And that's my ignorance for not watching enough Japanese women's wrestling. And I'm sure there's going to be people, probably Andy.
Should we make a
gonna be
New
really
Year's
upset about that.
resolution to do more Stardom shows?
Yes.
I think my argument for Mina to be cut is, which I mean by that I mean obviously we are still cutting her, is that because she's been in so many places. It's been almost like she's been spread thin.
I will say a
Props to
couple
her
of
for
things.
putting Rev Pro on the
Say couple of things. One, I lost my shit when she came out at Red Bull. That was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
When she got announced. And two, at Full Gear when she fucking kicked that champagne bottle out of Mariah's hands wearing high heels was like the fucking coolest thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
I
And then
really wish you guys would have been in the room when I was watching that
I,
with Pete,
I'm
because like
okay.
he was not a normal. You know the way I say I'm normal about things?
Yeah.
Pete was like so normal. Like,
That was possibly the coolest thing I've ever seen.
yeah, it was fucking amazing.
So she gets a gold star for that, and I think her matches in AEW have been good. Her match against Danny Luna and Red Pro that we saw was phenomenal as well. That was really really good. But
Yeah.
yeah, there's some like the standard here is incredibly high.
Props to our indie girlies this year as well, like Lizzie and Lana and Rio as
Yeah,
well. And Harley, like, and congrats to Alexis Falcon on her return to wrestling. Made up for her.
did you see a
But
tweet the other
yeah,
day saying she's basically just she's got new gear made for a return, which is like a whole city colors and the on the verge of getting like relegated.
but yeah, props out to our indie darlings. I love you very much.
Athena goes up to the top three, no
Yeah.
question.
Yeah,
I think Mariah goes up, no question.
I think Tony does as well.
I don't know. I would say
Or do we say Mariah's got her win a breakout and we put someone else up?
I think Mariah should be in the argument. Absolutely.
But you can't have Wrestler of the Year and the breakout.
Yeah, you can.
No, you can't.
Yeah, you
I
can.
think
What if
I
you've
think
been the
with
best
with
wrestler in your breakout year?
I think with regret we can take Willow off. I think it's not been her
I
year.
I think Willow and Stat have had good years, but they've also had very stop start years. So I would be willing to take both of them out if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
I mean, they had that incredible. I mean, we're going to talk about it in match of the year. They had that incredible street
Oh yeah,
fight,
they did, and
but
they both had fantastic matches with Mercedes as well.
but one swallow does not make a spring, as they say.
Hmm.
So yeah, with deep sadness, we'll cut both of them. I love them both. I would watch them both wrestle. I'd watch them both wrestle in an empty room for half an hour. But yeah, I think there's bigger fish to fry here. Tony, like now, Tony has been phenomenal, not just as an in-ring talent, but like her development of her character and like to
Yeah.
go when you consider like the ditzy sort of like Hollywood star that she started out the year as, then the Mariah feud, she became this like sort of hell-bent, vengeance-seeking, like film noir uber babe, and then she became this like confused like world traveler who like was popped up all over the country, all over the world, and now she's literally
A
doing
rookie.
her own intro into AW again, both through the lens of her current character, which is very subtly different but very similar.
Yeah.
I think that's remarkable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's also having banger matches like as well. If the matches were shit, this would all mean nothing, but the matches are great as well. And I
Can
think
we,
that
can we just talk about like the contrast between timeless Tony Storm and Deanna and now this one?
yeah,
Like, so good.
she's got, but now you don't even know, like she's got this like naivety to her, but you don't know if that's genuine or if it's a ploy to get close to Mariah, or whether it's, is she trying to do to Mariah what Mariah did to her, or is she just genuinely like so broken that she thinks,
Traumatized.
yeah, it's
It's
it's fascinating. It really is.
Yeah.
And I think there's an argument to be made that she is the one.
Yeah.
She's the women's wrestler of the year.
Yeah.
I mean, you've made a very compelling argument there. And yeah, I'd absolutely agree with you.
So we'd have to just have to cut one.
I think Athena should be in there for sure.
Yeah.
I think Mariah really should be in there. I think Mercedes, but I also think Mercedes should be in there as well.
So then, do you say we gave Mariah flowers previously and we cut her safely here, knowing that she's already got
potentially,
an award?
but then also we did also say before Mariah's outshone Mercedes, so
I mean, that is literally a thing that we said, isn't it? So I think if were we to not be hypocrites, we have to cut Mercedes.
The only thing I would say with regards to Athena, I didn't think I'd be saying this, is that a lot of her stuff has been pretty much just on ROH. So when you look at like actual like big matches she's had, it's been the big ROH pay-per-views. I think it's one of them where I think she's done a lot of great work and she's done tons for the belt, but as far as like the actual like level of opponent she's had compared to the others as well, that would be what I'd be seeing as like a bit of a sticking point.
Okay, Jay, let me put it to a different way. Athena and Billy Starks.
Yeah, I know.
Or Mercedes and Camille.
Oh, it's Athena and Billy Starks every day.
There we go. Mercedes is gone. You can apply logic. You can apply logic to anything.
You piece of garbage.
It's medical condition.
Well,
Toni Storm is our women's wrestler of the year because she's played about 4 different wrestlers this year.
Wrestlers of the year.
Right, male wrestler of the year. Surprisingly short list. Not a lot of people threw onto this. Psycho Mike, Swerve Strickland, Bryan Danielson, Konosuke Takeshita, Will Ospreay, Zack Sabre Jr., Cody Rhodes.
Get Cody.
We kick Cody Rhodes into the safe.
Get him out.
But did you know his dad was Dusty Rhodes?
I'm gonna fuck. Get him out. This is gonna be controversial coming from me.
Choose your words carefully, James.
I think we should take Psycho Mike out because we give him his flowers in the indie wrestler one.
Yeah, he's a top lad, and I love him, but he doesn't.
He's a piece of shit, but that's just a medical condition.
I just don't think he quite hangs on this list.
He has also, though, by the criteria that we've got for Toni Storm, he has also played 3 different wrestlers this year.
Yeah, he has.
Psycho Mike, Cowboy Mike, and Mystery Mike.
If we're talking following our head here, I think we have to take Takeshita as well.
Yeah.
I think he's poised. I think he's going to have a big one this year, but I don't think he quite hit the heights this year. Like
I would have argued maybe Takeshita should have won Breakout this year. Now I'm thinking about it.
Didn't Takeshita beat Kenny Omega this year, or was that last year?
Last year. Kenny hasn't wrestled this year. I think we talked about it earlier.
Kenny hasn't wrestled this year.
Maybe I'm just trying to cling on to like Kenny in my heart. We know that.
You're only lying to yourself, Faye.
This is really difficult because this is 4 into 3 and it doesn't go.
Is it?
Again, Jay, pick your fucking words, mate.
I'm gonna just say it. Bryan Danielson's the male wrestler of the year. He had literal fucking dream match after dream match after dream match after dream match. He knew he had limited time, so he wrestled as many dream matches as he fucking could fit in to that period of time. He had the best match of the year, in my opinion, and the moment of the year in a ring where he dethroned Swerve for the world title. And it's fucking Bryan Danielson. He retired. It's his fucking year.
So again, well, first of all, that doesn't answer
the question. This is the last chance we can give Bryan Danielson.
That doesn't answer my question of which one of these guys do we cut.
Oh, get fucking Zack Sabre Jr. out there. Go
Whoa! He won the fucking G1 and the fucking title.
Yeah, but he's the second best technical wrestler.
And he told Sarah that Keir Starmer needs to fucking book his ideas up. Which
all
was
right,
hilarious.
Well, in that case, get Ospreay out.
Get rid of Ospreay out.
But you can't. The numbers are there.
You can.
No, I don't care.
The numbers don't lie, and they spell disaster.
All right.
Sacrifice.
All right.
We're keeping,
Tasty.
Okay. It's just.
I've got an argument point here. Let's bring logic into this, Tasty. Swerve Strickland, world champion. Bryan Danielson, world champion. Zack Sabre Jr., world champion. Will Ospreay, what world championship did he win this year?
This isn't the PWI, mate.
What world championship did he win this year?
You can't have Ospreay in there when Swerve and Hanger have had feuds of the year.
Yeah.
But then, if you look at the match of the year list, Ospreay's in like half of them.
But for me, he's had great matches. But the character work that Swerve, because really we're arguing Swerve and Ospreay here, aren't we, for this top 3?
I don't know. I think I will agree with you, Jay. Danielson goes up. He's top 3 minimum.
But I'm not arguing between like Zack and Ospreay. Zack deserves to be on there.
I think
but Swerve deserves to be on there more than Ospreay.
I think discarding Zack is a travesty, considering he'll probably never have this sort of year again.
I agree.
I think Zach deserves to be up there 100%.
I think Swerve over Osprey because of
I
how
I think
everything.
yeah, I think this was Swerve's kind of like banner year as a talent in AW.
Yeah.
Like Will Ospreay for me, he had the best matches, sure, but as far as like actual achievement, Swerve went from like being a guy who was sort of like in the mid card last year to being the fucking main event guy.
And he hasn't lost his momentum,
He,
even though he's not in the
he
picture
was
now.
So hear me out. I'm gonna offer you a defense of Will Ospreay and then a defense of Swerve. Okay.
okay.
So one thing I will say, obviously, Will Ospreay, we've got the 6-star matches, the 5 and a bit star matches. Like it's if it's a head pick, it's Ospreay because the numbers are there. Like he has had more 5-star plus matches than literally anybody this year. He's had more 5-star matches plus matches this year than most promotions in their history.
Yeah.
I mean that is one man's opinion. It's Dave Meltzer, whatever. Okay. I would also argue from a outside of the ring perspective, this is the year that Will Ospreay arrived as a fully formed wrestler, as in someone who can talk, someone who's got a personality, someone who can make the fans feel emotions, someone who can get the fans behind him. And seeing that was really great. Now, counterpoint, again, what you said, Jay. Swerve has had to climb to this position. You could argue Will Ospreay came in at this position.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm conflicted.
And also, Swerve has done what Osprey's done in terms of like the work outside the ring as well.
Can we
How much shit has he done for AEW, like on like media
Mm.
side, on his own podcast, stuff like that. Like, yeah, he's done everything as well. Like,
This would have been so much easier if Ospreay had won the C2.
It wouldn't have been because I still
Swerve lost his house. Tasty, give him this.
yeah.
Can you honestly say? I mean, I said
I can. I will.
after World's End, I said if you don't think Will Ospreay is the best wrestler on the planet, you don't have eyes.
I'm
I
not
mean,
saying that like he's not the best wrestler. He's a great wrestler, but
To
he
be
doesn't
fair,
make me.
to
He
be
doesn't
fair,
break my heart.
this isn't best wrestler on the planet. This is male wrestler of the year. This is
Yeah.
not who is the best. This is who has had the best year.
Yeah.
I will
Swerve?
concede that. So we're not saying who has had the best matches of the year. We're saying who has had the best year. And Jay, I see your point. Where is his world title?
Yeah. He got an international title. He didn't get a world title.
And he did have
Shout out to Mox for holding all 3 belts, by the way, this year.
Yeah.
No one else has done that.
And Ospreay did have to wrestle MJF for a bit, and that was the whole thing.
Mox held all 3.
No, not all 3. No, like he's held like in all the major companies. He's held their world titles.
Oh, a world
and no
title.
one else has done
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But he's not got on this list. Fuck that.
Yeah, I'm not saying he has, but I'm just saying like
Mox is a bastard, man.
You're gonna make me do this. You can make me take Will Ospreay
Do
off
it.
the list.
Do it.
yeah, do it.
Either way, I mean, if it went to a vote, it's 2 against 1. Me and Faye are both
Yeah.
said
With all of the respect in the world, this feels like fucking lunacy.
He'd be number 4. He'd be number 4.
I campaigned. Like, remember last year when we did I did the Orange Cassidy filibuster, and we
Yeah.
got Orange Cassidy rest of the year, and
Yeah.
over Will Ospreay. And Will Ospreay's had a better year this year, and he's not even making the top 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Swerve.
It's Brian Danielson's year, mate.
I mean, we live in interesting times. Like, this is, like you say, Jay. I mean, I will concede. Brian Danielson only retired. Well, presumably only retires once.
Yeah.
It's the last chance we're ever going to get to give it to Brian Danielson, mate.
You know, if he comes back full time next year,
And
I'm
he'll
gonna fume.
Then he'll fucking get it again. That's what'll
Right.
happen, Faye.
I've pressed it. There we go. Top 3: Swerve Strickland, Brian Danielson, Zack Sabre Jr., and it's Danielson, isn't it?
It's got
Yeah.
to be Danielson.
Yeah.
Just if nothing else, if you're on the fence, and if you listen to this at home, and you're angry, and you think, why not Will Ospreay? Remember All In, when Will Ospreay was wrestling MJF, and Brian Danielson was making us cry when he beat Swerve Strickland.
Remember All In.
Except for Matthew, who was fuming and did not sing Final Countdown.
Well, that boy needs disowning, Faye. What can I say?
Remember how you felt when the
Um,
opening riff of Final Countdown hit at
Yeah.
All In, and we all just went fucking
And Blood and
everywhere.
Guts when they played it a million times.
Yeah.
I turned to you, Tasty, after that main event and said, there is no way in hell I'm letting Bryan Danielson not be Wrestler of the Year. I said it
This has
then.
been in the work.
This has
like,
been
all
in
this
my
time.
head since August.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
it's official. Bryan Danielson, for
Yeah!
possibly the last time ever,
Woo!
is the Wrestler of the Year, defeating once again Zack Sabre Jr.
As he should, because Bryan Danielson is the best technical wrestler in the world.
Also, massive props to Swerve Strickland, who has truly had one of the
Oh, my
greatest
sweet
12-month
beans.
periods I've ever seen as a professional wrestler.
Any
just
other
love
year,
him.
Swerve would have walked it for me, to be fair.
Yeah.
Remember
I
last
still
year,
would have been going for big for Swerve.
remember last year at All In when he was just like the extra man added into the
Didn't feel like it then, though,
to the
even
coffin
then.
match. You got stomped into a coffin, and then he walked into All
He
In this year.
wasn't even the extra man, Chris.
No, he was just
Yeah.
he was just there. But he was the guy who got buried in a coffin last
Yeah.
year, and this year he was like the final boss of Bryan Danielson's career.
Mm-hmm.
He made his daughter cry.
Yeah. Oh, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Right. So that's the main awards. Now we've got Match of the Year. This is the big one. We're gonna try and get through this somewhat quickly because it's getting on a bit. We've been going a while here. Match of the Year. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
Too fucking many.
Got
Can we get
22.
the WWE matches off?
Again, I don't want to be the one to do this because if
I'll say it.
if I do it, it
Take them
seems
off.
vindictive.
I mean,
Can I do it? I'll do it right now.
Roman vs Cody. I've already gone.
Jay's already torpedoed that one. Yeah. So
that shouldn't even be in the conversation. Drew and Punk. Faye said bracelet. Get it out.
Yeah.
Meltzer gave it 5 stars. I've still not watched it. Bracelet. Fuck that noise. Clusterfuck was good, but I don't think it should be in the best matches of the year.
Casino Gauntlet, even though I loved it, shouldn't be a match of the year.
So hang on, let's slow it down. So the TW one's gone. The clusterfuck didn't even have Sean Ross Sapp, so what's the point?
That's true. It did have like that whole teenage dirtbag spot though. That was,
and it did have the bit where the guy took his shirt off 3 times to have another shirt on underneath.
And it did have Darius.
Yeah, it was good. None of the matches on here are bad. We're not saying any of these are bad except for Cody versus Roman. They're all good.
Andrew versus Punk.
That is meant to actually be good, to be fair.
I don't care.
I'm looking down here. There's not a lot I want to cut.
I
think one of the Ospreay v Fletchers has to go. I think we can't have 2. It's indulgent.
I'd say take the World's End one off.
I'd say take Blood and Guts off.
I'd agree with Faye on that actually.
Okay, so hang on. So we're taking off Casino Gauntlet. It was great.
Yeah.
I mean, it will forever
Made me cry.
It will forever be the moment that me and Jay collectively lost our minds when Nigel McGuinness came out.
Yeah.
And then Zack Sabre Jr. came out.
And then Zack Sabre Jr. came out. Speaking of which, I think we take the Hechicera match off. It was great. I want to get recognized. Oh no, you want it on? Okay.
I want that on.
Okay, so we're taking World's End, Will Ospreay and Kyle. That's the one without the tombstone onto the steps.
Yeah.
Where Ospreay just did all the bleeding.
Mm-hmm.
I love how it's like, that's the one without the tombstone. Yet still it was the one where he bled loads.
Face
Blood and Guts off.
Blood and Guts. It was fun, but
it led up to a bigger match.
And I want to acknowledge that it was probably the best Blood and Guts they've done.
I liked BCC versus the Elite.
I really like BCC and the Elite. I like BCC versus the Jericho Appreciation Society.
I liked any match with BCC in a cage. I'll just leave it
so
at
that. So 5. We've got to kill 5 more.
I would say get Danielson and Mox off there.
I mean, yeah, it was good. So the thing can I just talk about this very briefly? The thing I really liked about this was just Danielson. It was the Empire Strikes Back. It was just Danielson running out of guts and steam and life, and you could see it throughout the match.
Sad.
You could see it throughout the match. It was like he knew he couldn't win.
Yeah.
And it was the perfect. It was Danielson writing the perfect final chapter of his career by himself. Like that was how if you could have said to Bryan Danielson, any way you want to go out.
That was going.
And it was the last matches against all the members of the Shield as well, which is wild.
But it was beautiful storytelling, and it was great, technically great as well. I think it was one of the best matches Moxie's ever had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would argue that it needs to stay on a little bit longer. I think it can still go, but I think there's other matches that need to go before.
Yeah.
It.
Okay. Mercedes versus Suzuki. Have either of you seen that?
No.
So I watched that I watched that this afternoon because
I do have a plan to watch it. I just haven't watched it yet.
Well, it won. It won one of the, I think it was Sports Illustrated's Women's Wrestling Match of the Year. It was tremendous. It was very good. That being said, I probably would say there were better women's matches personally, in my opinion.
Right. So
And
we take that off.
there's definitely one better on this list that I can see.
I think we can get rid of Swerve v Osprey because there's better Swerve matches and there's better Osprey matches.
Ooh.
Forbidden Door. It was. I mean, it was that for me. This was the match that like cemented Swerve as like a top
I
champion.
I think Swerve and Osprey was one of the matches of the year, so I'm going to say let's keep that on. That said, I think Zack Sabre Jr. versus Danielson was really really good. I don't I don't think it's the best Zack Sabre Jr. match on this list. I think that was the Hechicero one. So
It's also not the best Zack Sabre Jr. Bryan Danielson match either.
No, I prefer the AW one.
I prefer the AEW one. Both were very good, but I'd say we can take that off.
The AW one had Moxie swearing on commentary, which was just chef kiss.
Oh,
What about?
3 more need to go.
what about Oku versus Jacobs?
It's really good.
So
Was it? And I understand that, but was it as good as everything else on here?
So one thing I will say about Oka versus Jacobs is it was like a
It
greatest
was a
hits
banner
of, like,
passion, wasn't it?
it was, but it was also like all of the best bits of British wrestling, like indie wrestling. It was like a greatest hits of British indie wrestling. Now, if that's what you want, great. I think it's nice to have it on the list as a bit of a
A
stylistic
nod to
difference.
like, yeah.
And also, like it was literally just there was the whole like double turn he did halfway through, wasn't there? Where obviously Jacobs was like bust open, and then everyone was booing Oku because he bust Luke Jacobs open. So then it was just like everyone getting behind Luke Jacobs.
And the ending was like legitimately insane.
Yeah, Luke Jacobs came out dressed as Stan Hansen for his entrance as well, which is cool.
Yeah.
He then hit like the biggest murder Larry I've ever seen in my entire life. And a burning hammer, which Michael Oku kicked out of at 2. Not one, Cody Rhodes. Not one. Yeah, I thought it was fantastic. I would defo like to keep this in, but I'm also
It's tough times now though. They're all there's no
They're all amazing.
there's no wrong
one,
answers here now.
that one I've got a little bit of wiggle room on. I'd say maybe take out Osprey to Takeshita purely because I think both have had better matches this year.
Oh,
I know.
son.
Well,
I
Osprey,
really enjoyed that match.
I love that match. I think it's amazing, but based on what we've got there, like,
So what I'll say in terms of like bell to bell, it's probably one of my favorite matches of the year. However, I will accept that the stakes weren't massive on it, which is the only thing that hurts it. And if we're judging on the whole package of the match,
it was. So my logic behind it is that looking at what Osprey matches we got there, was it better than the Danielson match? No. Was it better than the Swerve match? I personally enjoyed the Swerve match more. Was it better than the Fletcher match? No. And looking at the other Takeshita match, was it better than Takeshita and Mike Bailey? I thought that was incredible. I thought
I thought Takeshita Osprey was better than Takeshita Bailey.
Okay.
That's the one I'm hovering over.
Well, I'm happy to take off either. The only reason I was leaning more towards the Osprey one was because we got that many Osprey matches on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that speaks to what we were saying earlier, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's true. All right, I'm happy to take the Takeshita Bailey one off. It was very good. As long as we give it its flowers.
It was excellent. I mean, like I say, none of these matches are bad. They're all best of the best.
I don't think we can whittle this down to a 3.
No, we're doing top 10.
10.
So we're going to take it down to 10 and then we're going to number them.
Okay.
This is going to take forever.
Oh my
We've got
god.
2 more to get rid of.
I
think one of the Red Pro matches needs to go.
If I'm picking one out of either of them, it's probably Oku Jacobs.
Yeah, I think Zack Sabre Jr. Hexter goes.
I think Osprey versus Danielson goes.
I mean, I don't think say Hechicero versus Zack Sabre Jr. should go.
Oh, I think Oku Jacobs goes.
I think Oku Jacobs should go. Yeah.
I mean, in defense of cutting it, they didn't cheapen it, but the fact that they're running it back means it means a little bit less. If you get my drift.
Yeah, they do that. They do that most of the time anyway. They'll run it
But
back.
it felt huge at the time because we all thought it was Oku's last match in Repro, and that's
Yeah,
obviously not been the case.
yeah.
Um,
So
I think
on that basis, I can consider taking it off.
Okay.
I think Osprey versus Danielson goes.
I
No,
think you're fucking crazy.
I think absolutely not.
But
I
no,
think
but
bell. I
think
think bell to bell. That is match of the year.
Yeah, I'm with you. Hear
yeah,
me
I
out
just
here. This might be a controversial one.
do not even think about taking that cage match off.
No, not the cage match. Sting's retirement
No,
match.
no, 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 no.
No?
If Danielson has to be the rest of the year because he retired, this
I
match has to be on the list because of
okay.
what it is.
Well, can we take Danielson's retirement match off, please? Because
Oh.
I had a bad
Right.
time.
Okay.
Oh.
We spoke about it. We gave it its due. I don't want to watch. If we have to pick between Bryan Danielson wins the title or Bryan Danielson slowly dies on television, I'm picking Bryan
Bryan
Danielson wins the title.
Danielson gets killed again.
It was like
Like
the
twice in a week,
it,
like
it
so
it was
close.
like the wrestling equivalent of Infinity War, and I can't deal with that.
Right, that is 10.
Is
We
it?
have our top
Okay.
10. We just need to number them.
Okay.
I would go Zach Ekisira 10.
Yeah. Okay. I'll settle with that. I'll settle with that. In my own personal list, it's like number 2. Well, that's because I'm a sicko and I like technical wrestling.
I would go
And
Willow
there's that.
Stat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair.
This is so fucking hard. I'll go Sting Darby.
Yeah.
Feel
Yeah.
free. Because
I,
it's
d-
great.
I
I
don't know.
I no, I
The
think
thing
that,
is, there's so many more matches, isn't there? Like,
Will Kyle.
I'd
I
say,
put Sting and Darby over Will Kyle.
So we go 7 and 8. Yeah, okay, I can do that. Can we just say as well, one thing I want to talk about, because we haven't done, I just want to mention this very briefly. One thing we haven't done in World's End review, and we're not going to. The end of the Okada Osprey match, my favorite thing was like Osprey tries to like kick out, but he's so fucked he can just like all he can do is like lift his head up.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was a beautiful little bit of detail. Will Ospreay is the best wrestler in the world. This is a lie.
Got
that Bryan Danielson before me.
it. It's recorded. It's in bold.
I know what my top 3 is.
I know what my top 3 is.
I think I know what mine is as well.
So can we work down maybe?
So what?
Where's everybody got? I'll say what my top 3 are, and then you can. We'll all go through, and then if we've got matches, we'll keep them up the top.
Okay.
So my top 3: Hangman, Swerve, Lights Out. That's me number 1. Number 2, Danielson, Swerve, and out of these, probably Osprey, Danielson, because I can't have Swerve on all of them, I guess.
That's my top 3 in that order.
That is also my top 3, but in a different order.
Okay, well that's good. So we just need to.
So they're the top 3.
Literally, the only difference with mine is swap Swerve and Hangman and Danielson Swerve around.
So what I'll do, I'll put a 3 next to those 3, just so we know they're the top 3. That leaves us with Mercedes and Chris.
I'd
Swerve
say
v Will. I think Swerve v Will comes in. No, I think Will v Takeshita maybe comes in next.
I think Will Takeshita next, and
At
then
6, yeah.
and then Mercedes start, and then Swerve and Osprey.
I think Mercedes Stack goes above. It's literally the best women's match in AW history.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
I think Swerve Will goes at 5, and I think Mercedes Chris goes 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then we've got. So if we say
We all unanimously said Osprey.
Osprey Danielson is 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we all said that. So that just leaves. Do we want?
So do you guys both think that the cage match is number 1?
I think it is, but I understand why
I've got
it
Danielson.
should be swerving. No, but I understand why it should be swerving Danielson.
No, I think it's all
That
in.
makes sense.
I
So
think just.
No,
I
that's what I
think.
mean. I think
Yeah.
I think All In
I-
should be
I,
number
th- I
one.
think I think you have to give in to the euphoria of that moment.
Yeah.
because like again, it was like the most. If you think those two pay-per-views like 2 weeks apart, you had the most euphoric, joyful ending, and the most harrowing, horrifying ending they could have done.
I've never felt so drained after a pay-per-view
I
before.
I literally like felt like a wave of depression after watching that Hangman and
If you
Swerve
said
match.
to me now, you've got to watch one of them right now, I'd pick All In. Like
Yeah.
the main event of All In.
Same.
And I know it's easier to say like it's a happy ending, but it made me feel good
Sometimes
about
your heart
life.
wants that.
And yeah, Swerve Strickland versus Hangman made me feel a lot of things, but good wasn't one of them.
I mean, there was a lot of like, oh my god, I'm going to see a man die.
Yeah.
And I love that. And I love the downer endings. And I love, like I say, the moment of the two moments,
Horror.
the two moments of wrestling that stick with me this year are Danielson singing the final countdown, holding the belt at All In as his family stood in the ring, which was incredible euphoria, and then Hangman screaming at the end of All Out because he knows he'd like ruined his soul basically.
Yeah. Which is still
I'm happy with that.
our banner on Blue Sky and Twitter.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll read them all out for us an official. Not that anyone really gives a shit. So our top 10 matches of the year for those who are interested and those who have stuck with us this long. At number 10, Zack Sabre Jr. versus Hechicero, Rev Pro 12-year anniversary. Number 9, Willow Nightingale versus Chris Statlander, Street Fighter AW All Out. And All Out had some gnarly fights in it, didn't it?
Yeah.
8, Will Ospreay versus Kyle Fletcher, AW Full Gear. 7, Sting and Darby Allin versus the Young Bucks, Sting's retirement match at AW Revolution. 6, Will Ospreay versus Konosuke Takeshita at AW Revolution. 5, Swerve Strickland v Will Ospreay at AW Forbidden Door. 4, Mercedes Moné versus Chris Statlander at AW World's End. 3, Will Ospreay versus Bryan Danielson at AW Dynasty. 2, Swerve Strickland versus Bryan Danielson at AW All. Oh, no, I've done this the wrong way around. 2, Hangman Page versus Swerve Strickland, lights out cage match at AW All Out. Damn you, Faye. And 1, Swerve Strickland versus Bryan Danielson at AW All In. And the special God tier match, Roman versus Cody at WrestleMania.
Ah!
Can't believe you
Need
done.
to special God tier match, right?
Gorillas of
Indie
Destiny
mention.
versus whoever the fuck they're wrestling these days.
No.
Can we just skip to local shows at the minute?
Yeah.
Because I want to give a shout out to what is one of my matches of the year, and it's Jack Knudsen versus Ian Skinner at Infamous. What's the name of the pay-per-view? I've got it literally here. Infamous Masters of Mayhem, which is also one of my shows of the year because I got to watch Isaac North run a shopping cart into Casey Payne, and they had door spots on a family show. It
Can we
was
just say as
amazing.
well, like huge shout outs to all of the local wrestling promotions in the Northwest, especially.
I've had the best time this year.
I've not got to
honestly.
nearly enough this year because life got in the way, but definitely want to go to some of my shows this year. Definitely go back to Wrestle Island this year. Definitely go to more Atomic shows this year. Definitely go and check out Off the Page this year.
Off the Page, Martina and Ian Skinner are on that show.
Yeah, so they've all been smashing it. They're fantastic. If you hang around on our Discord, Ben Cecil, who's the booker and owner of Off the Page, is on there all the time talking mad shit, and he's great. He's great crack to have around and
Yeah.
listen to. Jump onto our Discord and chat with him. He's great. Yeah, the
Shout
UK
out to DJ King just being fantastic.
Yeah, Tommy Jackson's occasionally there as well, and normally exacerbated by Fortnite. It's fantastic. But yeah, the UK, especially the Northwest wrestling scene, seems to be in a really good place. I know Sopro are having some problems with venues and stuff, but hopefully they sort that out. But yeah, the Northwest, even outside of Manchester, is booming right now. It's great to see so many like little promotions doing really well and booking really good talent. And yeah, what a time to be a wrestling fan.
Yeah.
Yep, sure is.
Anything else to say, or is that it? Are we done?
No, I think we're good.
Stan, we're going to be back in a week or two with so last year we made some predictions which we're going to dig up and listen to and see how well we did, and then we're going to try it all again for this year.
Oh.
I think
We'll probably
be way off the mark again.
Yeah.
Remember that year you said to him,
we'll
Proud and
probably
Powerful were going to be tag champs?
and then they just split up and never tagged together ever again.
To be fair, I know for a fact that I said that Okada was going to be the C2 winner and the Continental Champion, and Vince McMahon would get fired for more things coming out, and I was right on the count there. So I know I've got at least two right. we'll probably like do like a massive meld of talking about World's End, Wrestle Dream, Wrestle Dream,
TMFA.
and Wrestle Dynasty, and some TMFA all in like the next one as well.
Yeah. So keep an eye out for that when it pops up.
Once we've recovered from that weekend of.
Gonna say, as we record this now on a Thursday, this is the weekend of Wrestle Kingdom and Wrestle Dynasty. So there's a lot of wrestling coming your way. So keep an eye out for that.
Yeah. Cool.
Right. Thanks for listening, everyone. It was a long one. Thanks for sticking with us. Hope you
hope
you give a shit about our opinions. Please do, otherwise we're literally useless. And good night, goodbye, God bless.
Bye.